From atop the Emerson Brewer press box here at Paul H. Muse Field at Dragon Stadium, this is the DSN's coverage of Junction City football. I'm Wayne Pumphrey, and I welcome you to a very warm summer evening here in the border town. Temperatures today made it to about 101. It's finally, believe it or not, if you want to call it that, cooling down a little bit. But nonetheless, we're looking forward to a big game tonight between the Smackover Buckaroos and your Junction City Dragons. Right now, as you take a look at the front of the field here, or I say to the side, home side of the field, we're getting ready for the Wall of Honor inductions 2019, the class of 2019 being inducted tonight. There are 6 members going in, of course, 2 teams, the 1968 and 1969 Dragons, 2 of Coach Paul Muse's best. A lot of people will tell you some of the very best players that the school's ever had on those 2 teams. One of the team members, a senior in 1968, Tom Williams, is being inducted. Of course, Tom, when he finished up his Dragon career, as you'll hear here shortly, was the school's all-time leading rusher, and he finished with 40 interceptions. That's right, 40. Also going in tonight, Elton Kelly. He played here in the mid-30s, played college football at Northwestern, then coached in Louisiana for a good 20-plus years, and finished with, I believe, 2 state titles and was Louisiana Coach of the Year twice. Also going in, Glenn Elmore, one of the very best players in the 70s for Junction City from 1973 to 75. Glenn was a member of the Grambling State University Tiger teams from 1976 to 79. Played with Doug Williams, played on the 77 team that won the SWAC. Got a free agent tryout with the Seattle Seahawks. Glenn passed away 2 years ago, being inducted posthumously. Kobe McKinnon. Kobe played from 2001 to 2003, helped lead the Dragons to their first state title in 2003. He was MVP of that finals. He also finished up his Dragon career top 10, I would say, in receptions, reception yardage, TDs for a tight end. He went on to play at Arkansas State from 2004 to 2007. His senior year, Kobe was on the Buckus Award list, watch list, top linebackers in the nation. So a very big, and I better say very deep class. It is great having all these guys back, the 68, 69 teams. Also down there tonight, you're going to see gold shirts. Those are the guys that's being inducted, plus the members that are already in. I'm proud to say Tom Jerry made it back. Tom, an all-star player for Junction City. Actually played his freshman year. He moved up to varsity toward the end of his freshman year from junior high, played on the varsity from 61, and, of course, played all the way through 64, and was an all-star. Played in the 65 all-star game. Eddie Malone, and I mentioned that name, and it never fails. There's always somebody that goes, man, were you there tonight? He had that run against Cotton Valley. And I said, yes, I was. 9 guys from Cotton Valley tried to bring him down and couldn't do it. I said, it's been 40-plus years since Eddie played, and they still ain't tackled him yet. So Eddie Malone, one of the very best he's ever had, and proud to see them back. Of course, Coach David Carpenter. If I had to start telling you about his accolades, then you don't know nothing about Junction City football. But Coach Robbie Lowe is also there, and we are about ready to start the ceremony. Wall of Honor 2019. We're going to turn it over now to our PA. That would be Miss Joy Mason.
Welcome to the 2019 Dragon Football Wall of Honor induction ceremony. Tonight, we are proudly honored to present 4 men and 2 teams for induction into the Dragon Football Wall of Honor. Elton Kelly is the first Wall of Honor inductee from the decade of the 1930s. Kelly played for the Dragon in that decade and went on to play football for Northwestern State College. After serving in World War II, Kelly began coaching. He coached at DeRuyter, Louisiana in 1940, and after returning from the war, he resumed coaching at DeRuyter from 1945 to 1956. In 1957, he began coaching at Minden until 1967. Kelly led the Crimson Tide to 1 state title. He was twice named Louisiana Coach of the Year and was an all-star head coach in 1964. Kelly was also president of the Louisiana High School Coaches Association that same year. 2019 Wall of Honor inductee, Mr. Elton D. Kelly. Tom Williams played for Junction City from 1966 to 1968. During his Dragon career, Williams was outstanding on both offense and defense. On offense, he played halfback and rushed for over 2,800 yards, including 1,157 yards his senior year when he was selected outstanding back in the 8B conference. During his senior year, Williams had a 4-touchdown game and 2 games where he scored 3 touchdowns. He finished as the school's all-time leading rusher and in the top 10 all-time in scoring. On defense, Williams played safety and was known as a master thief. In 1966, his sophomore season, he intercepted 10 passes, then a school record. He would break in his junior year when he intercepted 11 passes, setting a new school record for interceptions in a season. His senior season, Williams would intercept 19 passes, setting a new school and state record for interceptions in a season. His career total of 40 is still a school and state record. When Williams finished his Dragon career, his 40 interception total was the 2nd most all-time in the nation. He is currently tied for 7th all-time in the nation. Besides being named 8B Conference Outstanding Back in 1968, Williams was selected to the State All-Star Game. Williams also named All-Conference and All-State during his Dragon career. 2019 Wall of Honor inductee, Mr. Tom Williams. The 1968 Dragons are the 4th team to be inducted into the Dragon Football Wall of Honor. The motto of the 1968 Dragons was, if they don't score, they can't win. They were the most powerful defensive force the school had ever produced. This group of dedicated and talented players gave it their all to follow that motto, yielding a school record for fewest points scored, allowing a stunning 14 points for the entire season, and at one point, holding opponents scoreless for 8 consecutive weeks. The talented offense produced 230 points for the season. One of the highest of the season was a district championship deciding contest against Northwood on homecoming night in Junction City. The 1968 team produced an 8-1-1 overall record and a 5-0-1 district record, good enough for a District 8B championship. Their only loss was a 7-6 blemish against Bernice, and they battled to a 0-0 tie with a powerful Stamps Yellow Jackets team. Several individuals earned postseason honors for the Dragons. Tom Williams was voted All-State, All-District, and Outstanding Back in the 8B district and led the state in interceptions. Danny George was voted All-State, All-District, and the Outstanding Lineman in the 8B district. Other all-district performers were Larry Carter, Roger Morris, Ronnie Hall, and Donnie Cole. Teammates Johnny Sweet, Larry Carter, and Ronnie Hall are all being inducted into the Dragon Wall of Honor for the second time. This trio of former Dragons has already been inducted as coaches for the 1986 Dragon team. Coaches for the 1968 team were head coach Paul Muse, assistant coaches Albert Boland, Bill Fleury, and Monroe Jones. 2019 Wall of Honor inductee, the 1968 Dragon team. Our fifth team inducted into the Dragon Football Wall of Honor is the 1969 Dragons. Coach Howard Muse welcomed several returning lettermen for the 1969 Dragons football season. These Dragons delivered quite the follow-up to the dominant 1968 season with a better overall record of 9-1, but the season had its share of controversy. Unfortunately, a ruling before the start of the season by the Arkansas Activities Association due to attendance increase cost the 1969 Dragons had a chance to defend their previous season conference championship, and it cost them a shot at the newly formed state playoffs. That didn't stop the 1969 Dragons, however, because despite that ruling, the Dragons were again dominant on defense with shutouts over Bernice, Magnolia, Strong, El Dorado B, Harmony Grove, and Bradley. They suffered their only loss in Week 5 to the once again powerful Stamps Yellow Jackets. The 9-1 regular season ended with the team only surrendering 35 points total, second fewest in school history, and 6 shutouts. The defense was ranked in the top 10 at the end of the season in several categories. The offense averaged more than 220 yards per game, even without the official reward of a conference title. It was one of the best seasons in Dragon football history. Donnie Cole led the team in rushing. Ronnie Hall led the team in kicking, including a 39-yard field goal. Jim Peace led the state of Arkansas in interceptions. Lettermen for the Dragons were Ronnie Hall, Jim Peace, Mike Morton, Charles Christian, Tony Pepper, Larry Thurman, Larry Carter, Peter Jerry, Larry Jones, Billy Carter, Mike Rocket, Donnie Cole, Randy Lyons, Jesse Hall, Billy Brown, Ricky Jolly, Dick Muse, and Bruce Pepper. The team captains were Ronnie Hall and Jim Peace. Coaches for the 1969 Dragons were Howard Muse, P.V. Griffin, Al Boland, and Phil Robertson, the Duck Commander. In 2013, the Junction City Athletic Department officially recognized the 1969 Dragons as conference champions. 2019 Wall of Honor inductee, the 1969 Dragon team. Elmore played running back for the Dragons from 1973 to 1975. Teammates remember Glenn as a special talent. He had several outstanding games for the Dragons during his career and was an all-conference performer. Elmore accepted a scholarship offer to Grambling State University and played for the legendary Tiger head coach Eddie Robinson from 1976 to 1979. During his time at Grambling, the Tigers were SWAC champions. After college, Elmore had an NFL tryout with the Seattle Seahawks. Mr. Elmore passed away on December 29, 2017. 2019 Wall of Honor inductee, Mr. Glenn Elmore. Our final inductee of the night is Kobe McKinnon. Kobe played for the Dragons from 2001 to 2003. During his 3 years as a Dragon, Junction City On offense, McKinnon played tight end and would finish in the school's top 5 for most receptions, yards, and touchdowns by a tight end. On defense, he played safety and finished in the school's top 10 for tackles by a safety. McKinnon was selected All-Conference in 2002 and 2003. In 2003 season, it was Kobe's best season as a Dragon. He set single-season tight end records for receptions, yards, and touchdowns that would stand for over a decade. McKinnon's play on special teams was also record-breaking. He averaged a school record 37.5 yards per punt return, scored 2 touchdowns, and he also returned 2 kickoffs for touchdowns. During his Dragon career, McKinnon made numerous big plays. One that he is remembered for is the interception return for a touchdown against Ryzen in the state semifinals that helped lead the Dragons to victory. In the state finals, McKinnon was elected MVP for his outstanding play. He recorded 10 tackles, 3 interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown, and 2 pass breakups. He also had a reception for a touchdown. McKinnon was selected All-State and All-Star his senior year. He was also elected to the Democrat Gazette All-Arkansas team and the Arkansas AP Super Team, the only Class 2A player selected. Following his Junction City career, McKinnon accepted a football scholarship to Arkansas State University. Kobe played at ASU from 2004 to 2007. He would go on to make All Sun Belt Conference in 2006 and 2007, and in the 2007 preseason, McKinnon was selected to the Butkus Award watch list. This is a list of top collegiate linebackers in the nation. Kobe had a great senior season in 2007, leading the team in tackles with 101. He would finish with the second most interception return yards in the Sun Belt Conference history. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest Dragons to ever play the game, 2019 Wall of Honor inductee, Mr. Kobe McKinnon. We want to thank each inductee and your families for making this a special night for Dragon football. Each man and team honored tonight has made a great contribution to the Junction City Dragon football legacy. Go Dragons!
That concludes the 2019 Wall of Honor ceremony. The class of 2019 officially inducted Kobe McKinnon, Glenn Elmore, the 68-69 Dragon football teams, Elton D. Kelly, and Mr. Tom Williams. As you heard, a lot of accolades for all these guys, a lot of good things to say about them. Right now, of course, they're getting a few more pictures made and getting ready to get off the field. And with that, we are going to go ahead and go into our pregame show here a little bit and talk about tonight's contest, a very important one. It's not a conference game, but it's one that you definitely want to see the Dragons come out on top of. Besides bragging rights, it is a longtime rival, the Smackover Buckaroos, the 43rd meeting between these two teams. Junction City holding the edge, 24-18. And joining me now, a guy that's familiar with the Buckaroos. Him and his teammates had their ways with them a couple times. Mr. Jacob Humphrey. Jacob, welcome. And good to be here. Let's talk a little bit about what, first of all, the heat. If you look down there on the field, as folks can see, Junction has made preparations to get ready for this. They got tents set up. They got I call it the ice bath ready, fans, everything. And Jacob, talk a little bit about how you could, kind of handle yourself in a game like this with the heat like it is.
Yeah. Last week, when you look at the performance that Junction City had against Harmony Grove. Yeah, you can go back and, say they could have done this differently, that differently. But I think, honestly, it comes down to just the heat and with the way the rules are this day and age, with practice times and how much you can be on the field with your team and stuff like that. It has changed even in the 10 years since I was playing. And so you're going to see this year, maybe different from years past, it's going to take teams a little bit longer to be conditioned to the elements. And with the heat the way it is, obviously the sun's made its way down a little bit. We've got a little bit of a breeze blowing, but it's still going to be pretty hot out there, especially for early September. And so you're going to see that in the preparations they've made. Guys are going to cramp. Guys are going to be winded a little more than they probably would be had they had more time to prepare or had they had more practice sessions. So that's definitely something to keep your eye on here in the early going of the season.
It's something you touched on there, and I'm going to go back to. Talk about the conditioning. Of course, the rule now is you're going to have one practice a day, and that's it. How much of an effect is that?
I think it affects it a lot. I mean, I can remember, just back when I was playing, we'd have 3 days, kind of 3 free days almost if you wanted, where you could do some type of conditioning. We always called it county fair. Of course, it wasn't near as fun as the regular county fair, as we always joked. But then we would, come into weeks of 2-a-days, and that's almost non-existent. You see it came from the top down, the NFL and the changes they made to the collective bargaining agreement and how you can't practice as much. And you started to see it several years ago at the collegiate landscape, and now obviously the high school landscape's taken over, especially with this, as much as health has been put at the forefront of the sport, and rightfully so. But it's definitely playing a role, and you're going to see it from here on out moving forward, how teams are going to be. Their conditioning is going to be in the first couple of weeks rather than in fall camp. It's going to be in the first couple of weeks leading into the season. So you're hoping by week 4, week 5, if you still haven't figured it out, especially with hopefully it getting a little cooler, then you're probably in trouble. But most of the teams that are wanting to play deep into the season, they'll have it figured out. They'll be really better conditioned, week 4, week 5.
And that is something, a lot of people, you'd brought it up before the Harmony Grove game that, conditioning is going to be a factor. It'll be a factor in this game. It'll probably be a factor in the next couple of games because you're not allowed to do the stuff you used to do. And teams, like you said, they got to figure out a way now to get conditioning in. And a lot of it's going to be for players on their own to get out there and get ready. And a night like tonight, it is really going to come into play because it was 100 and I think the high down here today, now depending on who you ask, 101, 103. And by the time this game's over, it'll only be down in the 70s, and that's not cool. That's not cool. We're talking, if it goes like it did last week, by 10 o'clock, this game will be over with, and it'll still be 70-something degrees. We're going to step away for a little bit, take a break, and then we'll be back with some more of the ERC pregame show. The 43rd meeting between Union County rivals, the Smackover Buckaroos and Junction City Dragons, about to take place here at Paul H. Muse Field at Dragon Stadium. And I'm Wayne Pumphrey, and just talking here with the guy that's going to be bringing you the game shortly, Jacob Pumphrey. We're talking about the conditioning, getting ready for this game and all. One of the things that we need to talk about besides the conditioning is – let's start with the Dragon offense, Jacob. I think that was the thing we all were kind of a little bit concerned about after the Harmony Grove game. It seemed like they did okay for a little bit. Then there was this lull, and it lasted a while. And then it seemed like the Dragons all at once come back to life, but it was kind of led by the defense getting things going. So let's start with the offense. What do you need to see out of them tonight?
Well, I think when you look at the offense and their performance last week, there was a lot of good. I saw a lot of good, and even the bad you could chalk up to what we mentioned before the break, where just the heat played a factor. The conditioning definitely played a factor. But for Junction City, I think you got to hold on to the football. You put the ball on the ground too much, and unfortunately you only lost it. And this is going to sound crazy. You only lost it 4 times, but you put the ball on the ground too much. You can't you can't sustain drives that way. Even if you recover, it blows momentum. So I want to see Junction City be able to finish drives. I was really impressed with the way the offensive line at times was able to move around a pretty athletic defensive line of Harmony Grove. That's got to be more consistent. And so when you look at week 1, there's always things to clean up week 1 because it's finally your first opportunity in a real game setting. You get to hit somebody else. So that you want to see that improvement from week 1 to week 2. And I think the big thing tonight for Junction City offensively is consistency.
All right, let's go to the other side of the ball. Something you and Coach Meeks, we'll have him in here in a second, love to talk about. Let's talk about them yard dogs on defense.
Yeah, Junction really looked good on defense last week. And you can say, well, how did they look good on defense? They gave up 30 points. Well, their offense didn't do them any favors. We just said that. They turned the ball over 4 times. So when you look at staples of Dragon defense over the years, they fly to the football. They're aggressive. They're not afraid of contact. Playing defense side of football, you can't be afraid of contact, obviously. So I want to see Junction City flying around. I want to see them making plays, creating turnovers. We saw that last week. 2 interceptions, guys jumping pass routes, picking the ball off, giving their offense time and time again. It was definitely a bend don't break mentality last weekend, and so I hope we can carry this into week 1.
Okay, now let's talk about a positive here that I think all 3 of us here talked about, especially after the game. Dragons seemed to find them another playmaker.
Yeah, they did. Jamal Johnson is definitely somebody you're going to hear us talk a lot about tonight. We're going to pause real quick for the invocation and then the national anthem.
Lord, everything you provided, Lord, I thank you for the safety, for the travel that's already taken place tonight. Lord, I pray for the safety of each and every person on the field. Lord, just pray for good sportsmanship, Lord, and be with those who travel home tonight. Lord, we thank you again for what you've done and what you've given us. In your name we pray. Amen.
We're going to step aside for 2 minutes. When we come back, we'll be leading you up to kickoff, 43rd meeting between Junction City and Smackover, the Dragon Sports Network.
We are back at Paul H. Muse Field at Dragon Stadium, about 15 minutes away from kickoff. Jacob Pumphrey and I were talking a little bit about the offense, the defense. and about the playmaker the Dragons have found. We didn't really get a chance to get into that playmaker, but we're going to bring a man in here, and we'll start with that subject right there. We got the coach here right now, Big Gary Meeks. Gary, let's talk about Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, he came out of nowhere last week. He ran the ball pretty good for us last week, and he caught some good passes for us last week. You know, he's another weapon that you can add to the Dragon offense, you know, with the rest of it. And hopefully tonight, you know, we can get all our good weapons going, you know, and like Jacob said earlier, you know, we got to finish drives this week. You know, Smackover is one of those teams you can't lay the ball on the ground 7 times and you know, not expect them to capitalize on it. If we can get those guys, those playmakers going to get them in open space and let them do what they do, I think our offense will be in good hands tonight.
We're going to get your take now on it. Let's talk about the offense first. I know Jacob talked a little bit about it. Let's get down inside that offensive line.
Yes,
what do you want to see out of them tonight?
Hold your blocks. You know, last week we was 1 or 2 seconds away from that guy right there with breaking a tackle. You know, all we got to do tonight is hold our block just a little bit longer, you know, and open up them holes for our running back. And, you know, when we got ready to pass, you know, pass blocking was pretty good last week. When Hudson dropped back to pass, he had all the time in the world to throw the ball. So hopefully, you know, tonight on the run blocking, they corrected it this week and come out and open up some big holes for the running backs this week.
The defense, for the most part, did everything it should have done. It still gave up 30 points, but I attribute some of that to late in the game fatigue setting in, plus the offense kind of in that lull may have brought them down a little bit. But talk about the defense a little bit. What do you want to see out of that unit tonight?
That front 4 or 5 they have, you know, this week got to keep putting pressure on like they did last week. You know, if we think about it, last week Grove went away from a spread game. They went to the run game. So with them going away from your spread game, that means the Dragon defense was doing something that they didn't like or they couldn't handle up front. You know, secondary played good last night. And I think secondary going to be on high alert tonight because Smackover got athletes all over the field. You know, you can't key in on one guy and the other guy get loose. So hopefully tonight that front 4 or 5, whatever defense they come out in and keep bringing pressure when they drop back to pass. And as far as the run game, we got to play gap control. You know, we got to control the gaps. And if we do that right there, I think defense can take care of itself.
Give me 3 keys to the game for the Dragons to win it tonight.
Offensively, I'm going to hit on it always, finishing drives. Defensively, get out the field on 3rd downs and just have a mistake-free game offensive line-wise. And I think if they execute them 3 keys right there, I think we'll have success tonight.
All right, we are going to step away a little bit as the crowd continues to steadily stream in here. And we're going to step out for 30 seconds. When we come back, it'll be our drive to the kickoff, presented by Union Kennel and Farm Supply. We are about 7 minutes and some change away from the kickoff. The captains, I believe, done met, and I've already gone back to their respective teams. The Dragons are up, waiting to take the field. Smackover, I have not seen them make an appearance yet other than their captains, but I figure here shortly they'll be ready to come out, and we'll commence with the 43rd meeting between these Union County rivals, Smackover Buckaroos, Junction City Dragons. The first time they did it, Jacob, 1934, in the midst of a Great Depression. And I guess that one didn't go too well. They took a break for 36 years, came back in the 70s, and ever since then it's kind of been on and off. But it's kind of that kind of game you want to see it on the schedule.
Yeah, you do. It's one of the ones you circle every year. There's no love lost between these two programs. Like you said, it's kind of went back and forth over the past couple of years, not just win losses, but the amount of times they've played, you know, with Smackover moving up to, 3A, back down 3A, and then Junction with their stint in 3A. And so anytime these two teams tangle, you're sure to be in for a good one. In Junction City, hopefully a lot of those guys in all purple with the purple hats tonight haven't forgotten about the whooping they took up there in the northern part of the county last year. as the defending Class 2A state champions take the field. 46-20 was the final last year. That was a rough start for the Dragons. They went 1-2, but then we know after the Haynesville game they rattled off 11 straight to claim the 2A title.
And that's a good point you brought up there. A lot of people last year, and I was one of them, like, my gosh, if we get to Little Rock, it's going to be because we decided to drive up there and watch somebody play. This team came back winning 11 in a row. But here's something to remember now. That streak did end last week, but there's still another streak going. And, in fact, this decade, Junction City, Jacob, has done a good job defending the Muse. Going into tonight's game against Smackover, this decade the Dragons have a home record of 54-7. And they have won their last 16 in a row here at the Muse. So that's something they definitely want to keep going. And, of course, you mentioned that to a Buckaroo, and they would love for nothing more than to end it. But this is a game you want on the skids. You want to see it played because it's just fun to have some old rivals go at it.
Sure, and it goes back to what Coach Brad Smith said in his first coach's show of the year, where he says when you play the best, they'll find your weaknesses. Smackover, they put a thumping on Hampton last week. They had no trouble with those canines from Calhoun County. And you look up, and they're number 5 in Class 3A, and what is going to be an absolute stacked Class 3A classification.
Oh, Lord, yes.
And so when you play the best, like Coach Smith said, they'll find your weaknesses. And here's another opportunity for, hopefully they don't find too many of the Dragons' weaknesses tonight, but when you play quality opponents, good things will happen.
Well, one good thing to remember, too, is that a team improves its most from the first game to the second game. That's when you see the vast amount of improvement a team will make during the season. Now, in Junction City's case, they may have went against the grain a little bit. Last year, they really began their improving after the third game, and it was, let's face it, folks, it was a whipping down there in Haynesville. But that team come back, like I said, 11 in a row, and there's another state title trophy in the case here at Paul H. Muse Field at Dragon Stadium. Or, excuse me, at David Carpenter Stadium. You still saying Dragon Stadium. We're going to step away. When we come back, the kickoff. 30-second timeout.
You're looking live at Paul H. Muse Field at David Carpenter Stadium, and for the first time in 2019, there's football in the border town. I'm Jacob Pumphrey with the Dragon Sports Network, and I'm joined the press box here at Paul H. Muse Field with Wayne Pumphrey. And I tell you what, Wayne, it's a good feeling. There's football back in the border town. It's time to go. Junction City hoping to bounce back from last week. You can't ask for more, especially when a Union County rival rolls into the state line.
Indeed, Jacob. I mean, this is what you love football. You love Dragon football. This is the game you want to see. Whether it's a conference game or not with Smackover, it's going to mean something. Now, yeah, when it's got that conference tag on it, it means a little bit more because, hey, this is going to determine the title. These two have determined quite a few titles between them. But nonetheless, when you see that black and white of Smackover come out on the field and the purple and white of Junction City, you're in for a big game, and your memory starts going back to the 98 collision up there, one of the most hardest hitting games I've ever seen. And you're right, when you get to this time of year and you get to come to the Muse for a game, you can't beat it.
Defending Class 2A number 1 Junction City and Class 3A number 5 Smackover set to tangle here at Paul H. Muse Field. Junction City won the toss. They elected to receive. And back deep for the Dragons, far side of the field, number 7 Jakyron Cook. And on the near side of the field, his classmate, senior number 8 Harlandis Frazier. Tell you what, if Junction's going to have any success offensively tonight, Wayne, it's going to come from probably at least both of those guys.
Definitely. And Cook, of course, I mean, needless to say, he carried the bulk of the action last week for the offense. 30 rushes, 138 yards, and I believe got a touchdown. And it was his 4th career game with 100 yards or more. Remember last year, Dante Gibson kind of took over toting the load for the Dragons. But here's the kicker, Jacob. On those 4 games, 3 of them he had 30 or more carries. I don't look I say this, and it may happen. I don't look for them to carry 30 times tonight in the conditions like they are.
I agree with you, especially with the heat, but and also with the emergence of sophomore Jamal Johnson, really busted on the scene last week. So it'll be interesting to see what the game plan is offensively for Junction City. And we won't have to wait long.
No, they're going to go. The Dragons will take it first, and hopefully we'll get this offense rolling.
Harley Williams has it teed up at the 40-yard line. Looks like it could potentially be a corner kick here. Smackover kicking it south. Breeze coming from the north. It'll be a line drive kick. It'll bounce around and around the 20-yard line, picked up by Frazier. And he's got a hole up the left side, gets to the Dragons sideline. He's across midfield, 40, 30, 20. He's got one man to beat, and he won't catch him. Touchdown, Junction City, right out of the gate, 80 yards to pay dirt, Harlandis Frazier, and it's 6-0 Dragons, 10 seconds into this one.
And the Smackover coaching staff's over there right now. Note, do not kick it again to Frazier. Because, Jacob, you saw it as well as I did. There was no backups there with the line going down to meet the return man. Once he got through that initial line, it was a question of outrunning the kicker. And, you know, if you can't outrun the kicker, Deacon Jones would be very disappointed in you.
Yes, he would. And that was just a mismanagement of the kickoff team by Smackover there. They had multiple bodies over there, but credit Frazier, just ran right by him, got to the sideline. It was a foot race, and I'll tell you this right now. I'll put my money on anybody in purple in a foot race tonight.
Yeah, indeed.
Junction lining up, going to go for two. Unsuccessful last week in 2-point tries. Here they are with 11:50 to play. Untimed down, they give to Cook straight ahead. I think he was stuffed at the goal line. Nicely played by that front seven of the Buckaroos. With a timeout on the field, 10 seconds into this one, Junction City 6, Smackover 0. We're going to step aside for 30 seconds. We'll be back with more football action on the Dragon Sports Network.
11:50 remaining in the first.
Welcome back live to the border town. Quick strike from the Dragons, and their offense didn't even have to step on the football field as Harlandis Frazier raced 80 yards to the house on a kickoff return. And it's 6-0 Junction City after the failed 2-point try. And I tell you what, talk about taking pressure off the Dragon offense. They got 6 points on the board, and Wayne, now it's the defense turn to go to work.
Yeah, I mean, the offense can kind of look at each other and go, hey, let's take a little bit longer break here. We're in good shape. But now you want to see that defense, Jacob, and something Gary talked about last week in the postgame show and tonight too. You want to see them come out and take control.
Jeremiah Williams with it teed up at the 40. Nice line drive kick. It'll bounce at the 15, picked up at the 12. Return man, he'll move back toward the left side. Runs out of one-arm tackle, still on his feet, bouncing around, and he gets across the 25, finally pushed out of bounds up around the 27-yard line. I believe that's where they'll spot it. Actually, they'll say he went out at the 25. So 1st and 10 for the Buckaroos as we see the Smackover offense for the first time tonight.
One of the key guys to watch on this offense is the quarterback, the trigger man, Austin Goodwin. Let's see what he can do. Last week put on a show. He is going to be a guy they're going to have to contend with.
Yes, he will. He definitely gets the offense going. Also be seeing some from DeKylan Hildreth, wide receiver. He'll be out wide for the Buckaroos. And joining him as they break the huddle, Jaquez Monica. Junction City very familiar with him after last year's loss to Smackover. 1st and 10 ball on the 25, and they give right up the middle. Hit as he crosses the line of scrimmage. That was Tanner Barnett, the first man on the scene. It'll be a minimal gain, maybe a yard.
The defensive line met the challenge there, kind of held their ground and gained a little bit, and then you had the linebackers coming in, cleaning up quick. That's how you like to see things start out.
Traven Crockett joins Dawson Biggers in the backfield. A little bit of an old school quarterback look with a 20 jersey on. And they'll fake to Crockett. Biggers keeps, and he's hit as he tries to make his way to the next level. It'll be a gain of about 2. We'll call it Actually, they won't give him forward
I think-
progression.
no,
It's
they
not
didn't.
That's for the late move in the chain, so it'll be about 3rd down and 7. Here's the clock moves under 10:15 to play in the opening quarter. Junction City 6, Smackover 0 if you're just joining us. Orlandis Frazier 80 yards to the house, opening kickoff. That's our only point so far in this one. Smackover to pass on, 3rd down. Pressured, gonna tuck it and run. And still on his feet. He's got the 1st down and some more. Runs out of a tough tackle. He's across midfield into Dragon territory. And I tell you what, that looked like that could have been a big loss to force a punt. But instead, it's going to be a big gain. But hold everything. There is a flag on the play.
We got Laundry down at about the 24-yard line. If I was a betting man, I'm betting it comes back.
Yeah, that's the only place that can be is a hold.
Yep.
Based on where the flag's at.
So that will put the Bucks in a little bit of a deeper hole. Jacob, I was going to say, I believe they had Monica split out wide, and the Dragons are just going to go single coverage with them starting out, see how it goes. So that's going to be an interesting matchup to watch.
And they had Goodwin in quarterback. He was the ball carrier on that. They moved Biggers out and brought in Goodwin.
I'll tell you what, there was no panic there. He kind of kept his cool, made a few moves, then when he saw the opening, he hit it and took off. And you're going to have to, definitely the Dragons will have to make some good containment on him. Don't let him use his feet. Reminds me of Shaq Hunter we had back here in 12, how Shaq would get out of the pocket and roll.
Oh, he would definitely roll. Man in motion, that's Monica. Goodwin takes the snap. It's going to be a screen play, and he's going to have a couple of blockers. He'll get back to the original line of scrimmage on 3rd and 20, and so it'll still be potentially a punt opportunity here for the Buckaroos. We're under 9.5 to play here in the opening quarter.
Buckaroos trying a little screen action there. Kind of had action going to the Dragon side of the field, swung it back to their side, and didn't quite pop like they wanted it to. But it did get them a few yards, at least better as far as punting.
And the Buckaroos will punt here. 11 yards gained on the screen play. 4th and 9. Clock moves under 9 minutes. Dual returners for the Dragons. Backing up to around his 40-yard line is Frazier. And we've got whistles before the snap.
I believe we had an anxious Buckaroo.
That's going to be a false start, so that'll help Junction City out, back them up even more. Jackson Cook, the punter for Smackover.
Jacob, I'm looking at the setup here. I wouldn't be surprised to see this wall try to form up along the Dragon sideline on this 4th down.
Especially with dual returners. Orlandis Frazier at around his 47-yard line. Motions for Cook to move to the wide side of the field. Which one do you kick it to? It's going to skide. Frazier comes up to it. Short punt. Hits it about the 46 of Smackover and out of bounds. Going to be great field position here with 8:42 to play in the first corner as we see Brady Hutchison and company for the first time tonight.
Going to be interesting to see how the Dragons started out. If they try to, being on the Buckaroo side of the field, they try to strike deep here real quick just to test the water, so to speak, or do they just settle in and go to work on the ground?
They'll break the huddle. 2 wide receivers to the far side of the field. That's the short side. Ball on the right hash, pistol formation. Hutchison gives to Cook right up the middle. He'll gain 4 tough yards before he is absolutely dropped to the turf.
And that's a good start. You know, you hear us say it many times. I'll say it again. When you get a good start like that on 1st down, all that does is open the playbook up a little bit further.
4 yards on the carry from Cook. Dragons break the huddle quickly, and they'll work with a quad set out to the left. Nobody behind Hutchison. They'll set the screen. They give it out to Frazier. He runs by Biggers, still on his feet. He's got the 1st down, and he's finally wrestled out of bounds as he crosses the 30, just shy of the 25-yard line. Nice play design. Didn't give Smackover much time to think, and it worked out big for the Dragons there.
Well, Coach Smith had said, look for us to do some stuff like we did under the previous coaching regime. Look for us to do stuff like we did in 2012 with Shaq Hunter. You're seeing some of that right there, kind of stuff they used with Shaq, and we used it the last 2 years.
15 yards on the screen play. 1st and 10 for Junction City. Ball at the 26-yard line. Hutchison will keep. We've got whistles. Will blow the play dead. one thing we've noticed, Wayne, Junction moving fast here in the early going.
And I believe, Jacob, this is on Smackover.
It is. Offsides on Smackover.
And now you're going to start with a, let's see, I believe a 1st and 5, and we got a timeout.
I believe Smackover calls a timeout. They want to talk things over. 8:04 to play, opening quarter. Junction City 6, Smackover 0. We'll step aside for 60 seconds. Be back for more from Paul H. Muse Field. Coming out of the timeout, Hutchison in the pistol gives to Cook. And the ball's on the ground, lost the football. And I believe Smackover's going to come away with it. Just an arm tackle got in there in the rib area of Cook, knocked the ball loose. And it will be a turnover for the Dragons as Smackover takes over deep in Junction City territory. That's just what Smackover needed because Junction City, up until that point, they were moving quickly and taking a lot of yards with them.
And, you know, you hate to see that because you had momentum going your way, nice little drive going, and you was closing in on, well, actually, Cook got across into the purple zone. But we got to take better care of the ball, problem we had last week, and it looks like it's continuing this week.
4.5 quarters into the season, you got to think an early Achilles heel, be holding on to the football. Dragons put it on the ground a lot already here in 2019, as now the defense back onto the field. They fake the give. Quarterback will keep. He'll wrapped up and be dropped from behind. Big hit from Cook from his safety position. Ball carrier there was Jaquez Modica.
Cook came up fast too, Jacob.
Yes,
he didn't waste time. He made the read and came in strong.
Maybe a little frustration there on the senior's part. And Cardarius Bunn was also in on the stop for Junction City as well. We'll call it a long 4. That's what Modica picked up. 2nd down and 6, under 7.5 to play. First quarter action, 6-0. Junction City on top of Smackover. Modica keeps. He'll work left side, wrapped up immediately and dropped for a loss. That's Cam Torrance, the junior linebacker. Tell you what, he's somebody that I think we're going to be saying a lot, talking a lot more about as we move forward into this 2019 season. Just a junior, but really last week kind of came into his own, led the team in tackles.
And, Jacob, I tell you something I'm loving right now. Coach Meeks you mentioned it too. Defensive line doing their job, making their stand, taking kind of control of that line. Them linebackers are making quick reads, coming in strong, making the plays. You want to see that continue, needless to say.
6:45, 6:44, clock rolling here in the border town. First quarter. Smackover to throw on 3rd down, in and out of the hands of the intended target. That was Dylan Novak. And he would have had the 1st down. Not to be confused with the great Southern Arkansas University legend, the punter, Dylan Nowak.
That's right, right.
Dylan Novak.
But not just a legend in his own mind, a legend with us too.
Yes,
let me clarify that real quick.
He's more than a self-proclaimed legend, we'll put it
there
that way.
There you go. That indeed. And, Jacob, let me say this real quick. Once again, opportunity right here for the Dragons to get great field position, make something happen.
6:38, clock stops after the incompletion. And on 4th and 5, the Buckaroos are forced to punt. Good snap, gets it out quickly, line drive punt. That's going to be returnable. Fielded by Frazier at the 40.
There.
He'll make his way to the Dragons sideline, runs out of the arm tackle. He's got a wall in front of him. He's going to go again. 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Junction City. Harlandis Frazier 60 yards to the house. He's touched it twice tonight. He's got 140 yards. Junction City's got 12 points. And there's just 6:23 remaining here in the opening quarter. Wow.
Indeed, Jacob. You saw it immediately when he made that first move. The wall was there. The wall was setting up fast, and it worked like a charm.
And Frazier getting a high five on the sideline from his head coach, Brad Smith. Like you said, Wayne, that's something Junction City's been doing for years, setting that wall up. As Hutchison fakes to the running back, he's in for the 2-point try, and timeout on the field, 6:23 to play in the first quarter. Junction City 14, Smackover 0. It's all Dragons so far in this battle of Union County foes. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. We'll be back with more football action here on the Dragon Sports Network and 101.5 The Hog. It's been all Junction City in this one so far, and more specifically, it's been all Harlandis Frazier, the senior. He's touched the ball twice on special teams, and he's found the end zone each time. He's got 140 all-purpose yards, 80 on an opening kickoff that resulted in 6 points, and 60 on Smackover's second punt of the game that he took to the house. And it's 14-0 Dragons over the Buckaroos, 6:23 to play here in the opening quarter. I'm Jacob Pumphrey, joined alongside Wayne Pumphrey. And I tell you what, you can't ask for more. Your offense, the one drive they've had, they fumbled the football, but you look up at the scoreboard and you're leading by 2 possessions.
Well, and I tell you what, I'll say to here right after the kickoff.
Jeremiah Williams with it teed up. Again, another good kick right there from Williams. It's going to bounce and just barely roll out of bounds. And that was good placement, just a little too much on it, and that will put Smackover pretty good field position here for their third drive of the ball game.
Well, we talked about the offense. We talked about the defense. I got you and Coach Meeks, what do y'all think? What about the offense? And what did we fail to mention? And I know this is going to hurt you a little bit being an old special teamer yourself. The special teams, the Dragon special teams, 140 yards already of, let's call it offense, 2 touchdowns. And your defense so far showing a real good job. Now the question is going to be, make a stop here. Let's stop them here, get the ball back. Let's see what the offense can do, what they can really do. They showed signs of it a while ago before the turnover.
Smackover breaks the huddle. They've used a trio of young men over center so far in this one. Monica's been back there, so has Goodwin and Biggers. And after the kick out of bounds, they'll place it at the 35-yard. Well, actually, they'll go and place it at the 40. I guess everybody's trying to remember where the ball goes when it goes out of bounds. Finally, it'll be moved up to the 40-yard line.
Well, they're definitely not in no hurry about it. I mean, if somebody told them Gonzalez was giving out free food, they'd probably move a lot faster. But they finally get the ball set, ready to go.
I'm not going to lie. I'd probably put my headset up and head on over to Gonzalez, too. 6:23 to play. Smackover back on the field for their third offensive possession of this one. And Goodwin hands off to the running back. Shot out of a cannon. He's got the first down across the 45, pushed out of bounds at the 41-yard line of Junction City. That was DeTraven Crockett. And that was a nice gain right there.
He ran like he was trying to get out of the Alamo. I mean, he hit that line and was rocking. And that's something the Dragons definitely going to have to keep an eye on here. Those quick busts in the line, it don't take long. Smackover's got speed. We talked about that before. It don't take much to get them in the open.
20-yard gain by Crockett. Smackover in Dragon territory for the first time tonight. They fake. Goodwin, he'll keep it right up the middle. Met at the second line. I tell you what, the Dragon linebackers, that's a fun group to watch. Nowhere to go after he got past the D-line. And they're going to say, they're not even going to give him a yard. They're going to say got back to the original line of scrimmage, bring up 2nd down and 10. Now they move the chain. So he actually picked up 2. So hard to see on that far side of the field. Bring up 2nd down and 8.
Jacob, one good thing about it, the Dragon linebackers, a lot of them juniors, so you see them some good experience here this year, making a name for themselves. Future looks bright indeed with our linebacking.
Good one to throw. Man, wide open That was about a 10-yard curl and just overthrown. Goodwin did his intended target in Hildreth. Tell you what, Hildreth listed as a freshman on the roster. It's pretty impressive to see a freshman up here at the high school level. And when you look at him, we don't have any intangibles on him, height and weight, but I got to tell you, he's one of the more taller players offensively for Smackover.
And I'm going to say this, 2 passes that, which I'm glad they dropped, I'm not complaining, but 2 that should have been catch. Should have been caught and pulled in. And, that's kind of frustrating to a quarterback, you making the throws. Yeah, that's my good English, catch.
And I want to say misdirection.
That was misdirection.
I think that was a design, not misdirection, miscommunication, but that was a design run as Crockett is met by that Dragon defensive front. Kyle Kidwell in on the stop. Tanner Barnett in there as well.
I think Jacob, though, I'm not sure. I'm not going to swear to it. I think they were wanting to run a draw play there.
It was a design draw. It was a wraparound is what it was, wraparound draw.
It didn't work like they wanted it to. Like you said, a little bit of miscommunication.
Little PTSD there from when Bearden used to run it several years back, and they definitely had the athletes to pull that off. Under 5 minutes to play.
Start having nightmares.
14-0's our score. 3-step drop, going to throw one over the middle. Pass is caught and down inside the 15. They'll mark him at the 11. Nicely done. Acrobatic grab by Hildreth. We just talked about him being a freshman, but you definitely wouldn't have known him by that catch.
Yeah, and when you're in the Dragons secondary, when they go at the ball, they got to go after it. And they gave Hildreth the chance he needed to pull in. A great catch by Hildreth, and it gives the Buckaroos, I believe, Jacob, they can still get a first down.
Ball at the 11. Like you said, they can reset the chains without scoring. Twins formation for the Buckaroos to the left. Man in motion, moves left as well. Single back, they fake to Crockett. Straight ahead is Landon Wallingsford. And I tell you what, we've seen 4 quarterbacks for the Buckaroos tonight as far as guys handling snaps.
Well, let me throw a question at you real quick. What does that do to the offense? So you're coming in with 4 different guys. I know you snap the ball, you got to make a play, but that's got to change the tempo a little bit.
Obviously, you think all 4 of them have something different that they bring to the table that they can have success with. So you got to think that's what Coach Brown's doing with the changes. Remaining in the game at quarterbacks, Wallingsford. Set to his left is Crockett. Man in motion's Monica. He gets it on the pitch. That'll be a pass. He'll work to the outside, and he's going to lower his shoulder. He finds the far pylon, and Smackover finds the end zone with 3:50 to play here in the opening quarter. 14-0's our score. 14-6 is our score. We'll see what Smackover decides to do, whether they try to go for 2 here or kick an extra point. I tell you what.
I believe they're going,
looks like they're going to kick an extra point here.
He was off on the far sideline down there.
It's getting to where in the smaller classifications, kickers are getting fewer and far between as far as finding somebody that can actually do it.
Well, something that we talked about before, a lot of positions, they're not being worked on like they used to. You don't see a lot of true deep snappers anymore. You don't see a lot of true kickers anymore. It's just, hey, this guy can halfway kick it, we'll give him a try. It's not worked on.
And the extra point attempt is blocked. Harley Williams' PAT is blocked. Not sure who got the paw in the air to knock the football down. Timeout on the field, 3:49 to play opening quarter. Junction City 14, Smackover 6. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. Come back with more Dragon football on the DSN and 101.5 The Hog.
Back deep for the Dragons.
An impressive drive for the Smackover Buckaroos results in 6 points as Jaquez Monica finds the end zone from 11 yards out and puts Smackover on the scoreboard for the first time tonight. 14-6 is our score. Junction City by 8. The 43rd meeting all time between these two schools, and as Wayne mentioned just moments ago. They've played a lot of good ones. These two teams have, and
Oh, yeah.
this one, with the way both teams are ranked in the state, and with the way the programs have been the last decade or so, you got to think this one's got the makings for another instant classic.
I would say so. And Jacob, you talk about the Buckaroos. Let's mention they've had several guys go on and play a little college ball, and one of them, Elmo Hempstead, with the University of Kansas right now, the Jayhawks. So there's been a lot of talent. Jordan Jones up at Arkansas. A lot of talent come through this Buckaroo program, and they have used that talent to make strong runs in the playoffs.
They sure have. Going to be a wobbling kick. That's the best that Junction City can do, is just cover it up with a ball bouncing like that. You never know where it's going to go. Smart play out there by Devontae Gilbert, and that'll give his offense great field position here with 3:49 to play in the opening quarter.
Now let's see what this Dragon offense can do. Hutchinson had a pretty good game last week passing, 11-25, 122 and a touchdown. You're taking over at about the 39-yard line. Again, good field position, and let's see if they can get a sustained drive going this time and get some more points on the board.
Jeremiah Williams checks into the ball game at wide receiver for Junction City. Twin set to the left, and they're going to get Junction City with a false start. Far side of the field, offensive lineman. A couple of new linemen in place for the Dragons tonight due to sickness and wanting to change things up there on the front. And that'll back Junction City up behind the chains here.
And that's what you don't want. You don't want to start out with is, a little motion right off the bat, and you got to back up 5 more yards and play from behind the chains.
Takes the snap. He's going to give to Cook. And I tell you what, really nowhere to move right there for Cook. Smackover did a pretty good job reading that one, getting up off the pile for the Buckaroos. There's big number 50, Alex Savage. And I tell you what, that last name rings a bell.
Yep.
For Smackover. I'm trying. For Buckaroo fans, yes, Jeff Savage, ULM, right?
Played at University of Arkansas. His son went to ULM.
ULM, that's right.
Yes,
that's
indeed.
right.
Yes,
yep.
indeed. I'm going to assume this young man is kin to him too.
3:17 clock continues to roll. Twins formation, left side of the field. Sprint out pass. That's going to be Gilbert. He's wrapped up and dropped at the line of scrimmage. So that'll bring up a 3rd down and long. And so not really anything developing there for Junction City. Tell you what, it's crazy how you get the false start. It feels like you're already you obviously are already behind the chains, but it definitely affects play calling there. Jamal Johnson, see him in the game for the first time tonight. He joins DeAndre Malone out to the near side of the field. And Hutchinson's going to throw it up, and he, just overthrows DeAndre Malone. A little more finesse on that throw from Hutchinson. I think he might connect with him.
Yeah.
That would have extended the drive, but instead Junction City facing a punt here on 4th and 15.
You're looking at, the Dragon defense coming back out on the field. Smackover had some success at last time with the ball, getting down and scoring and cutting it to 14-6. Now the Dragon defense being called upon to put a stop to it. You don't want Smackover to get that momentum. They got the athletes to make things happen, and you don't want them to start getting that roll going, and then you're kind of in a bind like you were last year up there in Buckaroo land.
Yeah, you got behind early in the comeback effort. Dragons didn't stop fighting, but they were in a hole early. And it definitely hindered their ability to potentially come back and win the football game. Ball bounces twice, picked up at the 30 by Modica. And he'll just slip out of bounds before a host of Dragons can get to him. But there is a flag on the play.
Noticed a couple times that we've had players, they were trying to hurry up and get somebody in, and they failed to do so at the last minute. And then earlier on one of the extra point conversions, we had a lineman went out there. Seemed like guys are forgetting what roles they got.
It'll be holding on the kick return, the punt return for Smackover. And after the penalty's marked off, that'll put the football at around the 33-yard line. 2:20 to play, first quarter action, 14-6 is our score if you're just joining us. Junction City by 8. Both of those scores came courtesy of special teams touchdowns by Harlandis Frazier.
2:20 remaining in the first quarter. Your score, Smackover 6. Junction
Watching
Dragons
our
14.
trainer, Big Charlie, he's making sure these guys are staying hydrated and everything, and doing a good job of it so far. I hadn't really seen anybody coming off the field just winded yet, and it is still hot.
Dawson Biggers now in the shotgun. Man in motion is Jackson Cook. Hard count, and they'll give to Crockett. He'll work left side. Hard running is Crockett. Not a very tall or big back, but definitely a hard runner. A lot of good speed there.
Yeah, and you, like you just said, a lot of good speed there. He has that quick burst too, Jake. A while ago on that run he had that helped keep that drive going and got him the touchdown. He hit that when he hit that line of scrimmage, he was rolling. I mean, there was no slow down, take a look or nothing. He hit the hole and picked up about 15, 18 on that run.
Yeah, that basically kept the drive alive, and obviously they end up scoring. So that was a big key play in that drive. Monica and Hildreth near side of the field, twins formation. Lone man split to the top. And they'll they'll fake to Crockett. Biggers will keep it. He'll work toward the first down marker. Tries to stiff arm a man, still on his feet. Finally forced out of bounds. Hard running by Dawson Biggers. He'll reset the chains for Smackover as he moves up to the 46-yard line. And we have 90 seconds remaining here in the first quarter.
Watching Biggers, Jacob, it's kind of like he's doing I call it the RPO type offense, but you hadn't really seen him try any passes yet, but I mean, he's hitting like quick handoffs or faking them, and then he's keeping. He's done that twice, but 3 times now, and this time he picked up a pretty good bit of yardage, of course, getting him the first down. Now they've swapped quarterbacks again.
New quarterback in the game, Monica, the man in motion. They flip to him. That's a pass. He's going to get the outside edge. Still on his feet. Cuts back across the grain. Makes another man miss. He's inside the 25, inside the 20, and he'll be marked down at the 18-yard line. Actually, they'll move it back to the 19, but that's the big play threat of number 3, Jaquez Monica. And Smackover knocking on the door here as we're set to close out the first quarter.
Like we just said, you don't want them to get that momentum going because it seems like when they do, the playmakers start kicking it in. Monica right there, great play, and another one with a burst of speed.
Now they'll work with Austin Goodwin in shotgun. And they'll give to Crockett. He's pressured early. He's going to try to bounce it out to the left side. Still on his feet, running hard, and it's going to be close to the first down marker. We'll see if he stepped out of bounds early. And he did. He'll be about 3 yards short. As the clock stops momentarily, 56 seconds to play here in the first quarter.
Well, the Buckaroos fell behind 14-0. They've now cut it to 14-6 on the move again. You need the Dragon defense to make a stand here to try to keep them out of the end zone.
Shows you the speed of Crockett right there. Tate Barnett flashed early, forced him to bounce it about 3 or 4 yards.
Yep.
Past how deep he was. He gained those and some more. Now it's 2nd down and 4. Biggers back in the game. He'll keep, and he'll be wrapped up and tossed forward down near the 10-yard line. Clock moves under 45 seconds. He'll be short of the first down, but it'll be very manageable here for the Buckaroos. 3rd, and we'll call it a long 2.
Let's see who they use at quarterback here, because this intrigues me. You got 4, like you see, you got 4 of them. They got different type of, what type of weapons they bring to the line of scrimmage. It's hard to judge what they're trying to get out. Biggers definitely, he likes keeping the ball or a quick handoff.
And he'll take the snap here on 3rd and 2. They'll give to Crockett. He's met at the line of scrimmage, nowhere to go. Nicely done by that Dragon defensive line. Tanner Barnett, the first one on the stop. Kyle Kidwell getting up off the bottom of the pile, and that'll do it for the first quarter of play. 12 minutes in the books. Junction City 14, Smackover 6. We'll step aside for 60 seconds. Be back more football here on the Dragon Sports Network at 101.5 The Hog.
We are ready to start the second quarter here at Paul H. Muse Field at at David Carpenter Stadium. I'm on the Dragon Stadium kick again, Jacob. One quarter in the books. It is 14-6. Junction City Dragons scoring 2 touchdowns on special teams. The Buckaroos with a nice drive to cut it to 14-6, and they face a 4th and 1 on the Dragon 11. They're trying to keep this drive going to possibly score and tie the game up. It's going to be a 4th and 1. And definitely Smackover is going to go for it. Now with the play-by-play, here's Jacob Pumphrey.
Austin Goodwin in the shotgun. Crockett set to his right. He'll be the lead block as Goodwin carries forward. He's got enough forward progression for the first down. And so that'll put Smackover at a goal-to-goal situation here. Goal-to-go situation here after the first play here in the second quarter. 14-6 is our score.
Like the way he made sure, give him credit, he kind of lowered that shoulder a little bit, get forward, instead of just trying to bounce it out or something, and he got the necessary yardage to give the Buckaroos a 1st and goal from the Dragon 9. Junction City defense, we need them to make a stand here.
Dawson Biggers now back in at quarterback for the Buckaroos. Crockett set to his right. They'll fake to Crockett. Biggers will keep it. He runs over a man, still on his feet, and he gets in the end zone for a touchdown. Hard running of Dawson Biggers has put the Buckaroos a 2-point try away from tying this ball game up. Hard running right there from Dawson Biggers. And he trucked a Dragon defender at about the 2-yard line. There is an injured player on the field. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. We'll be back with a 2-point try here with 11:34 to play in the second quarter. Junction City 14, Smackover 12. More Dragon football to come on the DSN and 101.5 The Hog. Back live to Paul H. Muse Field at David Carpenter Stadium. Did not get the number of the Buckaroo player that was shaken up, but he is making his way off the field on his own power, so that's good to see. And originally I thought it might have been a Dragon that was shaken up because Biggers trucked someone at about the 3-yard line, stayed on his feet, and dove into the end zone. And because of that effort, Smackover a 2-point try away from knotting this thing up at 14-all. They'll break the huddle here. They'll go twins to both sides of the formation. Crockett, the lone man, in the backfield, and we've got whistles before the snap, and that may be in favor of Junction. I say in favor of Junction. It actually gives Smackover more room to throw the football here if they want to. And that will be a false start. So that'll back Smackover up to the 7-yard line, where they will again try the 2-point attempt. 14-12 is our score. Junction City jumped out 14-0 early. 5.5 minutes into this one. And it's been all Smackover offensively since. Two receivers to the top of the formation. 2 more to the bottom. And Goodwin now in the game at quarterback. He's going to throw, looks right. He's pressured up the middle, and he's got nowhere to go. He's going to be dropped for a loss, and the 2-point try will not stand. Jemiah Carroll in there bringing down Goodwin. And with timeout on the field, we'll step aside for 30 seconds. 14-12 is our score. Junction City on top. More Dragon football on 101.5 The Hog when we come back. 11:34 to play in the first half. Junction City 14, Smackover 12. Battle of Union County foes here in the border town. Tell you what, Wayne, you want to start seeing something from that Dragon offense. They've got 14 points on the board. Junction City does. But as we know, both of those scores have come via special teams, specifically the legs of Harlandis Frazier.
You want to see this offense kind of kick it in gear and get going. Kind of like to see them open it up a little bit, maybe start looking downfield or something. But the offense has definitely got to kick it in because Smackover, they kind of got that roll going, and we need to get that roll away from them and get it back on our side of the field.
Ball's teed up at the middle of the field. Be a corner kick to the far side, and I believe that's going to be Carroll. He'll wait for a hold to develop. Nothing really going. Still on his feet, running hard is Jemiah Carroll, and he's forced out of bounds. That fires up the Smackover side. They've got the visitor stands over there filled up pretty well. Folks starting to move to the south end zone. Pretty good crowd on hand here tonight.
It actually is. In fact, I was looking a while ago. There's still folks coming in. About 10 minutes ago, there were still folks coming in. So it's going to end up being a good crowd. Didn't look like it was going to be too promising at first, but it's filled up pretty quick.
Dragon offense will go back to work here. First down and 10 from their own 37-yard line. Ball spotted on the left hash. Twin receivers set to the right. Carroll moves to the right of Hutchison, who's in the shotgun. He'll be the lead block. And he stops moving right through the hole is Carroll. Hutchison runs into his back, and that could have been a promising gain there. They will pick up positive yards, but not near as many as they could have if Carroll would have hit the hole full steam.
And we saw that in the first game against the Hornets, and we're seeing it tonight. It's like the offense not just sure what play we're running here. You've seen the quarterback had to talk to a couple guys and remind them, and you've seen receivers the previous game kind of palms up in the air like, hey, what was I supposed to do there? And like you said, a promising play, Jacob, and it ends up being only 2 yards.
And they're going to throw here on second down and 7. He's got a man. That's Devontae Gilbert. He's wrapped up and brought down, but not before he makes his way into the purple zone. And that'll be a big gain for Ginger Cheleno Allstate Insurance first down with 10:44 to play in the first half. That's the big play Junction City's been needing.
Well, that's what we were talking about. They need to start looking downfield because the Buckaroos, their defense is up tight. Now, their safety's not as far back as what Harmon Grove had, but they're up tight. And, I'm like you. With speed we got, I can't see anybody covering a Dragon receiver on a slant.
And they'll give to Jemiah Carroll. He bounces up the middle, still on his feet. 5-3, lunges for the goal line. They're going to say he got in, and I look like he might have got in. He's a lengthy fella, but they're going to mark him down inside the 1. That's a tough call. We'll chalk it up and say they had a better view than us. With 10.5 to play here in the first half, Junction City back-to-back big plays. The completion to Gilbert and the big run from Carroll, and they are less than a yard out from increasing this lead. Hutchison takes the snap. He'll plow ahead, untouched for the touchdown. 10:20 to play. Hutchison from a yard out, and it's an 8-point lead for the Dragons, 20-12. And as we get ready for the 2-point try, that's just what the doctor ordered.
Yes, the doctor put in a prescription for an offense to move it down the field and put 6 points on the board, and that's just what they got. All set up, Jacob, by the deep pass to Gilbert.
Tell you what, nobody ever accused Brady Hutchison of not having a strong arm. He can definitely sling it. And that was evident there on the pass to Gilbert. And on the 2-point try, nowhere going is Carroll. He's wrapped up and dropped. But a timeout on the field, 10:20 to play, first half action. Junction City back out in front by 8. 20-12 is our score. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. We'll be back with more Junction City football on the Dragon Sports Network and 101.5 The Hog.
Junction City Dragons 20.
We are back at Paul H. Muse Field at David Carpenter Stadium, bringing you the game from the El Dorado Chemical broadcast booth. And what a game it's been. Junction City jumped out early, 14-zip. Buckaroos brought it down to 14-12. The Dragons just answered. A nice little drive set up by a long pass to Vontae Gilbert to give them a first down inside the Buckaroo, I believe, about the 15-yard line. And the Dragons finished it from there. They're now up 20-12 with 10:20 to go till the half. And now to the man who once got with Johnny Van Zant and sang Sweet Home Alabama at a hotel in Hot Springs. Here's Mr. Jacob Humphrey.
Jeremiah Williams' kick, another strong kick. It'll bounce at the 22 and roll out of bounds. And so good field position here for Smackover as who knows which quarterback comes out of the huddle here for the Buckaroos tonight. You know, I got to thinking about that. You know, why do you use so many quarterbacks?
Yes.
It's probably because you want to put the ones that aren't in quarterback in another position to make a play on the field. Just like Junction probably could have done, years ago, probably could have put 2 or 3 guys behind center or in the shotgun or pistol. You definitely want to keep your playmakers on the field where they can get the ball in space, and so you got to think that's what Smackover's doing. Definitely sometimes a little bit confusing to keep up with.
Well, and that's what kind of studying here, and it's got me stuttering a little bit because you're watching each one of them to see what they're bringing to the table. Biggers, definitely, he's not afraid to lower them shoulder pads and go. Probably could play fullback, with I'm talking about with his determination. And I had the size for it, but that really wouldn't matter. Goodwin seems like he has the touch with football as far as passing. And the other two definitely got the speed, just kind of outside maneuvering, so to speak. So, 4 different guys to choose from there. That gives them a lot of options to work with.
They give to Crockett. He is hammered by Cam Torrance. But the big thing on that play was the holding that was not called right in front of the head official. I tell you what, Jamarco Singleton, he was basically just held down to the ground while trying to make a play. That's what forced Crockett to bounce it outside. He tried to make something out of nothing. It ends up being a 4-yard loss as the clock moves under 10 minutes to play here in the first half. 8-point lead for Junction City, 43rd meeting all time between these two schools. Dragons lead the series 24-18. Still a lot of football left to be played to decide this one. Biggers fakes, keeps it on the run right over right guard, and he'll get back inside the original line of scrimmage.
And a nice little fake there, Jacob, you notice by Biggers. I mean, he was just a quick like he's handing it off, pulled it back real nice. Reminds you a little bit the way he handled the ball right there. Those old University of Oklahoma quarterbacks back in the day in the 70s, how they could make you think, okay, that fullback's got it. No, he don't. Keeping it.
3rd down and just inside the original line of scrimmage. We'll call it a long, very long 9. And we're under 9 minutes to play. 20-12 is our score. Ball at the 40-yard line. And Goodwin, he's now at quarterback. He's going to be flushed out of the pocket, wrapped up, and dropped down. Ball's on the ground, and it's going to be Junction City football. I think Singleton come up with it. Regardless, it's going to be 4th down if the Dragons didn't recover it. Like Singleton had the opportunity to grab it as Goodwin was absolutely slung to the ground.
He was definitely hit. I mean, that was a hard lick right there to take.
He loses 2 yards on the play to bring up a 4th down and 12.
We got 8:20 in the clock running, Jacob. Here's the opportunity as a team the Dragons are looking for. You just scored. You're up 8. Smackover had momentum. Looked like things going their way. You kind of killed it with that touchdown. Then you make a good defensive stand here. You finish it off, forcing them to punt, get the ball, and make something happen, and you can start turning this thing your way.
Hayden Jonio standing at his 26-yard line. Again, dual returners for Junction City. Snap is fumbled. He's barely going to get it away.
Get away from it. Get away from it.
And that's going to take a Smackover bounce. And
Get away
Frazier, I think he thought about maybe trying to pick it up. Too many white jerseys and black hats around him to do so. But it'll be good field position for Hutchison and his offense. When we come back, we'll step aside quickly for 30 seconds. Junction City football on the Dragon Sports Network, 101.5 The Hog. 7:32 to play, first half action. 20-12 is our score. The Dragons by 8 as they're set to begin another drive. Jakyron Cook behind Hutchison, who's in the pistol. Carroll checks back into the ball game. Single receiver to each side, and they give to Cook. He'll bounce it out left, being chased. He's going to get the corner, leaps over a man. He's got the first down, and he's up inside the 45. They mark him down. Wow. Shot out of a cannon, then he leaps over a man, picks up the first down, and gets about 5 more yards before he's finally brought to the turf. Nice run right there from Jakyron Cook.
Yeah, leaps over would-be tacklers in a single step, just keeps on trucking. Great run there.
That's probably the most impressive Ginger Talano Allstate Insurance first down we've seen this season. And that 16-yard run from Jakyron Cook. Remember, he carried it 30 times last week.
You got single coverage on Frazier here at our side of the field.
Safety for the Buckaroos. He'll now start going back. They'll give out to Cook, nowhere to go. That was read instantly.
Goodness gracious.
Nice job out there for the Buckaroos, Preston Davis.
Tackle made by number 42, Preston Davis.
And that'll be a big loss for the Dragons. Actually, we'll say it's only 3-yard loss. Put them behind the chains. 2nd down and 13. Clock creeps toward 6.5 to play here in the second quarter. Low snap, Hutchison corrals it. He's going to throw it up the right side. He's got a man there, and that's Frazier.
That's called.
And that's going to be a big first down. Firing up the Dragon crowd. Little arm movement from both guys, the corner and the wide receiver. Frazier won that battle, hauls it in. And that Ginger Talano Allstate Insurance first down puts the Dragons in the purple zone inside at the 19. That's a big pitch and catch right there, Wayne.
Well, what's more impressive on that, Jacob, yes, that was pass interference. He flat out grabbed him. But, just keeping you cool, pulling it in. And now, once again, like you said, in the purple zone, another big opportunity.
That might have been a catch in any league. And they fake to Cook. Hutchison will keep it. He'll fall forward for a couple of yards as he nears the 15-yard line.
And, talking about Brady Hutchison, we was talking about his arm strength and all that. Last week, Hutchison moved up the charts in several categories as far as passing, and we'll get into that in a minute. This young man, a lot of people don't realize it, he has a chance to set some career marks if the season keeps going like it is for him.
And they'll give to Cook. He runs
run
into the back of his own player. Good solid run. He gets inside the 15. I believe they'll mark him at the 12. And we're under 5:45 to play. First half action. 20-12 is our score if you're just joining us. Junction City by 8. Home opener for the Dragons. They are 14-6 in home opener since 1999. Open for win number 15. And the give goes to Cook right up the middle. And a good open field tackle from Goodwin. But Cook will reset the chains with another Ginger Talano Allstate Insurance first down.
Offensive line got a little bit of presence there that time and cleared the hole. And, of course, Cook was coming hard through it. And that's what you like to see, just a good old-fashioned straight up the middle, pound it. And now 1st and goal inside the 5.
And Hutchison, he'll leap a man. Defender showed early off of that Buckaroo defensive line. He tried to get what he could. Bring up 2nd down and goal after no gain.
Not sure what's going on. I believe Hutchison come out, didn't he? Now he's over on the sideline. And the Dragons now they're fixing to go, and let's see what we got here.
We're going to have, I believe that's going to be a direct snap to Cook.
Yep.
He'll get behind a couple of big bodies untouched. Touchdown, Junction City. Jakyron Cook from 2 yards out. And that pushes the Junction City lead to 26-12 with 4 minutes and 56 seconds to play in the first half.
Really like to see us get the 2-point conversion here because that really starts opening things up if they can convert to 2 here.
It'll keep it a 2-possession game, but Smackover would have to get both 2-point conversions
Right.
in order just to tie the ball game up. And the snap goes to, I believe that's him, Jamal Johnson. And the sophomore pushes it in, 2-point try, successful. Timeout on the field. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. 28-12 is our score. More Junction City football on the Dragon Sports Network and 101.5 The Hog when we come back. 4:56 to play. First half action, 28-12 is our score. It's a 16-point advantage for Junction City. And as of late, the offense has, I guess you can say, Wayne, been more consistent. And it's looked like what I'm sure the Dragon faithful are wanting to see.
Absolutely. When you see the way this game has flowed, we had the lead, then they cut it to 2. Then you see the offense make its statement. 2 good drives set up by 2 big pass plays. We talked about need to start going deep a little. Of course, it's easy for us to sit up here and go, got to throw it deep, coach, all that. But you see it up here that, hey, man, they cannot cover the outside. But a lot of teams are going to have trouble covering Frazier and Gilbert. But Coach Meeks has even said that.
Line drive kick, and that's going to bounce into the end zone for a touchback. So that's a definitely a change of pace from where they've been getting the football. It's a nice leg there from Jeremiah Williams, the junior. And so Smackover will have it here, first down and 10.
A while ago I was mentioning Brady, Jacob. Of course, now I don't have the numbers on him right now, but last week he was 11 of 25 for 122 yards. He's moved up on career passing yardage list. He's now, I believe, in 4th place. Around 1,500 yards. Of course, we don't have all the numbers we do have. That's what we're going with right now, as far as other quarterbacks in the past and all. But Brady tonight, 2 big passes. He's showing that arm again, and he showed that he had a couple passes should have been caught last week down the sideline.
Yeah, he did. And those were early shots that the Dragons took, and you got to think if they connect on those last week, may be a different story.
Yep. Well, look what's happened here, and it also sparked the offense to 2 big pass plays.
And Monica will keep on the quarterback keeper, and he's going to be slung out of bounds. And
wow, I'm surprised.
Wow.
I'm going to leave it at wow.
I'm sure sometime back in the day we got a 15-yarder we didn't deserve, and I think that was a little makeup for it. You can just go ahead and pick whichever one it was.
He must have refereed one of our games past. Man, I owe these guys one. I really do owe them one. I'm going to give it to them right here.
Wow, that was right in front of him. He didn't even reach for the flag. 4:15 to play, first half action. Monica gives to Crockett. He spins, but he is met at the second level. Cam Torrance, he brought the hard hat with him on that one.
You've called that young man's name quite a bit, one of the junior linebackers we were talking about.
Kyle Kidwell in on the stop as well. Tell you what, Kidwell just a magnet for the football.
And Kidwell this year, his role's changed a little bit. He's now not only, defensively, but offensively, he's playing a little bit of fullback. They're kind of moving him around a little bit.
Got to love 2A football.
Yes, sir.
They'll plug and place you where they need you.
That's it. Got to get the job done, baby.
That's it. Near the 3.5-minute mark here in the second quarter. Slow motion from right to left for the Buckaroos. Low snap. They give to Crockett. He moves out of a couple of tackles. Finally spins up past the 35-yard line. They'll mark him down at around the 37. Be a manageable third down coming for the Buckaroos.
And Jacob, right here, like to see another stand, and let's get that ball back and see that this Dragon offense can keep it rolling. And the Buckaroos really hadn't tried anything, I would say, intermediate or deep. So they, you might want to watch right here and see if they go to the air.
They break the huddle, send 2 receivers to the right, single receiver to the left, and he's got a lot of running room. That's Monica. He loses the football, fumbles it out of bounds just across midfield into Dragon territory at the 49.
That young man can move. Is he a senior?
He is a senior.
Thank God.
So they'll move the football back to the 50-yard line. That's where Monica lost the football. It bounced up and out of bounds at the 49. They'll move it back to where he last had possession. Under 2.5 to play. Smackover with 2 timeouts to work with here in the second quarter. Again, same formation, 2 receivers to the top, lone man to the bottom. That's the near side. And they give to Crockett. He's met by a host of Dragons,
including number 40, Jacob.
Cam Torrance. And I believe we've got a timeout Smackover. Buckaroos will talk things over here with 2 minutes to play in the second quarter. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. 28-12 is our score. More Junction City football on the Dragon Sports Network and 101.5 The Hog when we come back.
Timeout, Buckaroos.
Two minutes remaining in the first half. Junction City up 28-12. The Buckaroos trying to get a little something going. They face a 2nd and 9 from the Dragon, let's call it Dragon 49-yard line. They're coming out of a timeout. Buckaroos, I believe, have 1 left. Junction City with all 3 here trying to make a stop and get the ball back and try to get a few more points, Jacob, before the half.
Yeah, they do get the football after the intermission, so a touchdown here would definitely have them feeling good about themselves going into the break. 2nd down and a long 8. Buckaroos trailing by 16. Monica, he'll take the direct snap. Nowhere to go. Jamarco Singleton, I tell you what, they've been grabbing his jersey all night. He had nothing to do with that, and he was in on Monica before he could even get a full head of steam.
You can see the bottom of Monica's gold shoes when he laid them down. A good job there getting in there and shutting it down, forcing a loss. It's going to be a loss of 2, Jacob. So big 3rd down here. You'd like to see them make the stop, and like I said, opportunity to do something here before the half.
And the Buckaroos running the clock down, under 90 seconds to play. They've got 1 timeout. If you're Junction City, you don't want to get beat on something tricky or something deep. And they break the huddle. They'll move Trips to the right. Single man is Hildreth to the left. Frazier will take him one-on-one. Biggers now in the shotgun. Takes the snap, 3-step drop, plenty of time to throw. He'll look right, and the pass is intercepted. That's caught by Cook.
Yes,
Somebody's going to have to make a signal.
He caught it.
And
he caught it.
2 or 3 officials they're looking at each other.
None of them know.
And we've got the far side official saying incomplete. No way he had an angle on that one.
No, he didn't. That was in. He had that. I'll be dead blamed. 4th down, and let's call it 11.
Clock stops with 62 seconds to play. Now it'll start back up. 4th and 11. And Smackover going to go for it here.
I believe so. 58 seconds. If they don't get it, they're giving unless this is just to try to draw.
Well, the Dragons just lost 4 seconds because it was 1:02 and they started it. Now they've stopped the clock. Twins to each side, Biggers to throw. And that's going to be the screen pass complete to Monica, still on his feet. He's going to be wrapped up and dropped well shy of the first down, so they'll turn it over. Dragons will have it with 51 seconds to play, all 3 timeouts to work with. Tell you what, this could be a game-changing moment right here if they can find the end zone here before the break.
Yes, indeed, and it works out good for Junction. You got all 3 timeouts. You're starting in great field position. Smackover at this point has to respect Gilbert and Frazier. They got to respect both of them, and if they don't, look for Junction City again to go up on top and see if they can get another, 2 big pass plays set up to help 2 good drives keep going to get points on the board.
Dragons leading by 16, 28-12 is our score. 51 seconds remaining here in the first half.
Now look at the Smackover secondary. That's what I'm talking about. Now they're backing off the
Junction
line.
City football. They'll throw the screen pass out to Frazier.
He's got
plenty
room.
of
He's got
room.
room.
He gets a block. He's across the 40, 35-30. He's got the sideline inside the purple zone. 10-5. Touchdown. They had 51 seconds and 3 timeouts, and they only needed 10 seconds. And the Dragons go up 34-12 just like that.
Mama said there'd be plays like these when the Smackover secondary, when you go deep like they did a while ago, well, actually on both the 2 scoring drives, the Smackover secondary this time starts playing back further. When they play back further, now you can run your short play, your short pass plays, your running play, whatever running play you want to try. You got more room to work with, and it works like a charm right there with the speed of Frazier.
Speed kills. 41 seconds to play. And untimed down here on the 2-point try. They'll give to Cook. He spins out of 1 tackle, and he's going to reach for the goal line. And it looked like he might have lunged in. Better angle on the field than we got up here.
They got a better angle than we do, but
timeout on the field.
30.
We'll take a 30-second break. 34-12 is our score. Dragons all over Smackover at the moment. We'll come back in 30.
.41 seconds remaining in the first half here at the Muse. Junction City 34, Smackover 12. The Dragons once again striking through the air to set up well, actually, I take that back, not to set up anything. They scored off of it and now lead, like I said, 34-12. And Jacob, the offense doing what the offense should do.
Yeah, I'd say early on one of the keys for Junction City is get the ball in Harlandis Frazier's hands. It don't matter how you do it. Punt return, kick return, throw it out to him wide and put him in the backfield. Heck, find a way to get it to him. He's made plays all over the field tonight, and that's one reason Junction City's up 22 points.
Indeed.
Line drive kick fielded at the 10-yard line by Modica. He'll let the kick return team develop, and he's still on his feet. Somebody's going to need to get that young man down. And spins out of a tackle. He'll move up near the 40-yard line. And so Smackover with an opportunity here. 1 timeout, 29 seconds to play. They definitely need some points here before the half. You got to think that's what they're thinking. Then again, they might just take a knee here. And
well, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. Hey, let's try something here. Let's see if we can make something happen. But if you fool around and there's a turnover, Junction City scores off of it, then, what's the first thing the fans are going to say? Why didn't you take your butt to the locker room?
Sure, sure.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard. Probably the best thing to do, my 2 cents worth, take a knee and let's go to the locker room.
Of course you'd say that.
Well, of course I would.
34-12 is our score.
Hey, I can coach anything from up here.
Bucks break the huddle. Ball at the 37-yard line, Biggers, and he'll keep it. He'll be wrapped up after about a gain of 3 yards. And Smackover not in a hurry to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I believe
that's going to do it. Clock moves down to 10 seconds. And Buckaroos are just looking at the scoreboard, hands on their hips. I think they've had all they want here in the first half. And that'll do it. 2 quarters in the books here from the border town. 34-12 is our score. Junction City on top of Smackover in the 43rd meeting between the two schools. We'll step aside for 60 seconds. We'll be back with more Junction City football on the DSN and 101.5 The Hog.
We are back at Paul H. Muse Field at David Carpenter Stadium. It is halftime. Junction City 34, Smackover 12. Dragons offense looking really good. Got the passing game going, and Harlandis Frazier, that's the name you need to remember at the moment. He has made some big plays and is responsible for, I know, at least 2 touchdowns. I can't remember if he had a third one or not. No, 2 for sure. Our halftime guest is a Wall of Honor inductee, class of 2019. And let me tell you a little story about him here. Now, he is known back in his playing days, and I got this out of the El Dorado newspaper, as a master thief. Well, what if I told you he's been a preacher for the last 20-plus years, and proud to have him on here tonight with us, Mr. Tom Williams. He played for the Dragons from 1966 to 68. When he finished, he was the school's all-time leading rusher. But, folks, I'm here to tell you that's not what really impressed everybody. When we verified the numbers and joined me here, he had 10 interceptions in 1966. He had 11 in 1967, each year setting a school record for interceptions in a season. And then his senior year, and it was the number that, I ain't going to kid you, blowed me, Coach Carpenter, and some other people's minds, 19 interceptions, 40 in all. He is tied to this day 7th in the nation for most interceptions in a high school career. Mr. Tom, thank you for joining us.
It's an honor to be with you, Wayne.
First thing first, talk about, you watched the game tonight here. We looked down and saw you, and this was a question that popped in my head immediately. What's different from when you played to now?
Well, I think the athletes are a lot better. I think they're bigger, and they're stronger, and they're faster. I don't know the name of number 8, but I tell you, he's a hoss. And he's an incredible athlete, and what a cool thing to see him and his team play. You play well.
When you played primarily a running game, so to speak, what was some of the things you prepared for? Did you really prepare a lot for a team that might throw the ball? Was there anybody that threw the ball a lot, or was it just the defense that you played with that forced teams to have to go to the air?
No, we had an incredible defense. Our coaches were incredible. They taught us intensity. Our guys decided we'd play with unity. When you have intensity and unity, out of that comes passion. And we had an incredible, passionate team that year, an unusual passion, I think. And we just had some hosses, man. These guys played ball. They had fire in their eyes. I felt sorry for the quarterback. He'd throw it up in the air, and I'd just run, get it, and go. It was a great season.
When you finished your high school career, you played in the Arkansas All-Star game, I believe in the 69 All-Star game.
Yes.
And then you decided to, or had you up to this point decided, I guess what I should say is the direction you decided to take with your life?
Well, I tell you, I began to realize that the Lord didn't let me grow real big. And so you kind of come to an understanding of who you are and kind of what God wants to do in your life. And I just decided maybe my playing days are over and that God had a different plan for me. And my wife and I, we were childhood sweethearts. And so over the course of time, we married, now 48 years, dated for 5. And so I just think God had a different plan. And even at a young age, that loved playing ball, I just realized probably it was a little different than what God wanted me to do in college.
Now, how long had the name of the church you're pastoring
I
at now?
pastor at Indian Springs Baptist Church in Bryant. Been there almost 24 years. Been in the pastor for 35 years, and was in the oil industry until I was 35 years of age. And then God just really did a cool work in my life, and it's been a great journey.
When you look back on your football playing career, when somebody says, "Hey, you play for Junction City," you know, what's the first thing that comes to your mind when somebody says something like that to you?
The fans. There's something about Junction City fans, whether it's a good year or just an average year. There's never any bad years at Junction, but they've always had a fan base that stayed with them, supported them. And I just remember on Friday nights, and the stadiums would be filled, the voices would be loud, and they would just always cheer. And we just loved playing before our people, and they were always so passionate about the game, and that probably stands out most. The teammates, we had some great athletes, and a little old guy like me would just kind of get behind them, and it was just a fun time.
Talk about Coach Paul Muse. I mean, when we met. In fact, we met in El Dorado at a restaurant to talk a little bit. When we was working on your bio, and you mentioned a little bit about Coach Muse. Talk about him tonight and what he meant to you.
Well, incredible guy. I think that being a head coach is, in some respects, kind of like a preacher. Sometimes it gets a little hard, and everybody wants to win. But Coach Muse was always consistent. He treated everybody the same, and he instilled in us a desire to do our best, to leave it all out on the field, and nothing else would be acceptable. He was a great football mind, had some great coaches alongside of him, Al Bolin and Billy Wayne Fleury, those guys, Mr. Jones, just great guys who taught us the value of life. What you learn on a football field applies to life. And the passion that comes from the field, you take into life, and it's seen, of course, in the life of the Lord Jesus, how he died for us. And all of that comes together to help us realize the importance of life and eternal life through Christ.
I want to thank you for joining us here at halftime. Like I said, when I looked at your career and all and everything, and then found out that you was preaching and all, I was looking forward to meeting you. And folks, if you're here at the stadium and listening to us or watching us, you get a chance. Mr. Williams is here. Come by and say hello to him. Wall of Honor, class of 2019. He holds a couple state records in interceptions. He holds, like we said, number 7 all time. But more importantly, it's what he's done after his playing career, and I salute you for that too. We're going to step away for 60 seconds. When we come back, the sound of the border town, the Junction City Dragon Marching Band. We are back here at Paul H. Muse Field at David Carpenter Stadium, and now taking the field, the sound of the border town, the Junction City Dragon Marching Band. Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen.
The field is yours.
Just heard from the Battling Buckaroo Band, and then also finishing off our halftime show was the Sound of the Border Town, the Junction City Dragon High School Marching Band. And we are back here live, Paul H. Muse Field, David Carpenter Stadium. Been a pretty eventful first half of action. 34-12 is our score. And I tell you what, Wayne, there for a while, like the offense was going to sputter throughout the rest of the night. But they got a couple of big plays, and then they kind of turned it on. And a couple of those playmakers for the Dragons. You look at Brady Hutchison, 6 of 7, 114 yards and a touchdown. And on the receiving end of just about all of that is Herlandis Frazier, 3 catches, 108 yards, and a touchdown. And then he was also responsible for the first 2 scores of the game, 60-yard punt return, 78-yard kickoff return. And it's Junction City, I don't want to say well in control in this one, but they are up 22 here as we're just about 6 minutes away from the second half beginning.
Well, it started, Jacob, when you got the deep passes going. You know, we talked about that. You know, they need to start going deep. That last touchdown was because of the first 2 passes. When that, we said it right before the snap. Look at the secondary; they're backing off, and then Mr. Frazier with the room to roll with it. And of course, when you get things like that rolling your way, it can make good things happen. Got a couple shout-outs I want to do real quick here. We've got a good buddy of mine in Dallas, Texas. I hope I'm right, Mr. Glenn Wheelis. And another one, longtime Dragon fan, Dragon band director, healing from surgery, Mr. Alan Simmons. Hope you get better soon. He's checking us out tonight on the Dragon Sports Network. And, folks, forgive me just a second here. Denton, I'm going to ask you something real quick. Can we go 3 headsets here, or we will be able to, I believe. I think that's what we're going to. Okay, yeah. We're going now. Go ahead, Jacob, and stay on the headsets there, and we're going to get all 3 of us in here together. So we got another gentleman here joining us at halftime. Dragon fans probably remember that 2003 state championship team, one of the most dominant in Arkansas high school football history. And there was a guy on that team, Jacob, what was it, 37.5 yards on punt returns.
Yeah.
Set records at tight end. But me and you talked about it more than anything. If you remembered for a moment, if a person is remembered for a moment, it has to be the state finals against Barton. And the guy that made this quote, and I'll give his name in a minute, said folks just saw the best athlete in Arkansas play in this state final game between Barton and Junction City. The guy that said that, Papa Bear himself, Frank McClellan of the Barton Bears. The guy we're talking about joining us here, Mr. Kobe McKinnon. Welcome, sir.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
First thing first, Kobe, when you think back to your Junction City playing days, what's some of the first things that come to mind?
Oh, that's a great question. Of course, the state championship game is, right up there at the top of everything. That Rising game that got us there as well. And then some of those other games and some of the younger years like Shiloh Christian going up there and playing with Kevin. That was a hard-fought game as well. And then, of course, Harding Academy as well, too. That was a cold one. I remember that. But, yeah.
Real cold.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that kind of come to my mind when we were down at the reception this evening, and I want to thank Generations Bank, the official sponsor of the Dragon Football Wall of Honor, for the reception. And a question was asked by one of the radio guys now, when because they were asking me about each inductee, and they said, okay, now Kobe McKinnon, he played recently. I said, well, yeah, and then I caught myself and I go, man, that's been 15, 16 years ago. But your senior class, and that was something I was telling them, there was determination. There was not going to be no stop at the state semifinals. 2 years in a row we got there, we lost, and then you, Big Gary, and the gang. I mean, I remember coming to a practice right over by the old tree that used to be right across from us here. And you guys gathered up, grabbed hands, formed a circle, and I told my wife, I got home that night, and I remember telling Melissa, I don't know if we're going to win state, but by George, we will be there this year. You guys were determined. What put it in you? Just we're not accepting nothing less.
I think a lot of that's owed to the upperclassmen we had when we were growing up as we were younger, and, of course, Coach Carpenter and the other coaches just instilling that work ethic and that determination in us. And, of course, after coming up short those first couple of years, sophomore and junior year, we were not going to be denied. Every single guy on that team was that their determination was unparalleled. I mean, we had, I felt like, every bit of focus as there could be, and it ended up paying off in the end. All our hard work worked out for us.
After finishing up here at Junction City, you go to Arkansas State. You end up on the Buckus Award watch list, one of the top linebackers in the nation. Talk a little bit about your Arkansas State career.
It was really enjoyable as well. A lot of work had to go into that, and tell a lot of people that, you know, the hard work I learned and that work ethic here at Junction really paid off at the collegiate level as well, because you get a lot of guys come in there and have the athleticism, but they don't always have that same work ethic and drive that allows you to really take it to the next level and be able to be successful. Something that I really appreciated about playing at Arkansas State was getting to play with some of those guys that we got to play high school ball against. Ben Owens from Beard, and of course Tyrell Johnson, Shamar Bracey up there at Rison. And then, of course, we started on defense together. We had, who else? Vincent Thrower out at Harmony Grove. And, you know, some of those small town guys that we grew up playing against that, you know, a lot of people aren't fortunate enough at our level to be able to make it to the next level. So I really appreciated that bond we had.
Well, one final thing, you mentioned that, Kobe. I remember when we went down, Jacob and I went to, you remember the New Orleans Bowl in 05. Of course, they played in Lafayette because of Katrina. But on that roster, what you just said, and Big Gary and I think talked about this one time before, on the Arkansas State roster, folks, were 9 guys from the 7AA East.
Yep.
That's how tough it was. Kobe, we thank you for joining us here. If you want to hang around a little bit, you're welcome to. We're going to step away for 30 seconds, and we'll be back with the second half action here on the Dragon Sports Network. We are back here at Paul H. Muse Field at David Carpenter Stadium. They put 3 more minutes back on the clock here, let the teams kind of get loose and warm up. Smackover back on the field. The Dragons now returning to the field here. And we're about 2 minutes, 40 seconds away from the second half starting. Junction City out early, 14-zip. Smackover rallied to close it to 14-12. And after that, Junction City, the offense went to work, and it started with a couple deep passes. Brady Hutchison hitting, I believe, Frazier one time, and Big Gary, I believe the other time it was Gilbert on one. And then Frazier, after the 2 touchdowns, they come back and fired a quick, I guess you call it, outlet pass to Frazier. And now it's 34-12 Dragons. The offense kind of got it cranked up and going. The defense, folks, looking good. Actually, the defense picking up where it left off against Harmony Grove there, especially in the first half going into the second half. And now joining me here, he's doing a little visiting here. Hey, we had a local radio legend up here with us. Can we call him ex-Buckaroo? Can we do that and get away with it?
Maybe.
Chris Long ain't listening. You know he ain't listening, so we can say it. Now, Steve Harold up here with us, and we're glad to see him. Of course, we had Kobe McKinnon come in, and Mr. Tom Williams. You heard him before that, and you heard us talk about what his playing career here at Junction City, what he's doing now, preaching, I believe he said Indian Springs Baptist Church, and really enjoying the setting here. So now I'm going to toss it over to you, Jake.
I was just going to say, obviously, I'm sure Kobe probably has a favorite play in his career, high school, college, the whole 9 yards. What is your favorite Kobe McKinnon play? Because I know mine. I know mine.
One of my favorites was one of his punt returns. Now, I have to admit, I cannot remember the opponent. I know that's a shock. But
that is a shock.
They had lined up. They had them dead to rights. Him and Michael Hall reminded me of each other in one thing. You could knock the mess out of them, and it didn't seem to faze them. And the guy was bearing down on Kobe to hit him, and like we was talking about in the pregame and all, or early in the game, I should say, he didn't go left or right or nothing. He just hit him, and the guy just, he didn't flop or nothing. He just dropped, and Kobe never let up, just kept going. Actually scored off of that. But my favorite Kobe McKinnon moment, no doubt, the interception return against Rising.
There we go.
And
there we go.
1A on that list would be the state final performance.
Sure.
It was impressive enough. Frank McClellan said, you just saw the best athlete in Arkansas play today, right here in this game.
And arguably one of the greatest MVP performances in state finals history, regardless of classification, 2A,
Absolutely.
3A, all the way up to the big boys. That was that interception return from the south end zone to the north end zone.
Going north, just Rising.
Minnie said he was just taking us to the rock. So that was pretty good because Rising, the teams they had, and like they were knocking on the door again, potentially get Coach Toddy back to the rock. But
they come down the next.
Special.
They come down the next year, beat us in the semis.
Sure,
but that
sure.
that game motivated them to get back to this.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's great, Jacob. The Wall of Honor, and again, I want to thank Generations Bank for their generous support in helping us make this happen. We had a great turnout today, folks. Probably about 3 times as many people as we had last year. This is the second year that we had the reception for the honorees, and of course they're now all wearing gold shirts, if you've noticed during the ceremony. And I want to thank Miss Melissa Pumphrey for that idea. I think it's wonderful to honor history, and especially if you love sports, small town football, you can't ask for more than that, to have something where you recognize some of the greats that played here at Junction City.
Yeah, the gold shirts. That's a nice touch. It's a nice touch. Tell you what, that Melissa Pumphrey lady, she's a pretty cool lady too.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, I'll give her a little shout out here, and probably Junebug. I don't want to make Junebug man, so we'll give her one real quick. And now we're fixing to move on to the second half kickoff. And Jacob, we talked about it in the first half. Junction City offense kind of picking it up. Now the defense, if they can set the tone, we may can pull a W out of here if we're lucky.
That's right. Temperatures dropped. Both teams just coming out of the break. They're rested, and so we'll see how the Dragon defense responds here. As Smackover will have it 1st and 10 from their own 40-yard line after the kick goes out of bounds.
Well, as we get ready here, one thing to remember, Brady Hutchinson, is the passes has really looked good. It's opened up that offense. Smackover is going to have a little bit of sense of urgency. They're down 3 touchdowns, so they got to get it going. So let's see if they try to change things up. They've been using 4 quarterbacks, which has been very interesting.
Biggers will take the first snap for the Buckaroos coming out of the intermission. They'll break the huddle. Twin receiver set to the bottom of the formation. Hard count from Biggers, and he'll give to Crockett. He'll work left side. Slow reading, wrapped up, comes out of a tackle. Finally brought down, but not before he gets a 7, maybe 8 yards. First play from scrimmage for Smackover here in the second half.
I tell you what, give Crockett credit. He has really, every time he's touched the ball, there's been no hesitation, no stutter stepping. He's coming hard.
Bucks break the huddle. I believe Biggers is still a quarterback. Crockett to his left. Bad snap, ball's on the ground. It's going to be covered up by Biggers. Carroll gets on top of him, so after the 8-yard gain, it'll be about what'd you say, Wayne, about a 12-yard loss.
Yes.
Actually, about a 10-yard loss. It'll put them about
they lost
3-4 yards behind the chains now, so now they're faced with a big 3rd down. I tell you what, that's definitely not what Smackover was looking for.
Well, they had a 7-yard gain, I believe, the previous play. So, yeah, you lose about 11 here. Now you're behind the chains. You're the Dragons, of course, you definitely want to keep them there. And it'd be interesting to see what Smackover tries to do here on 3rd and long.
Modica, the man in motion. He'll create a trips formation to the right. Biggers takes the snap. They're going to set up the screen short side of the field. That is Crockett. He's running hard, and he's going to be close to a 1st down. I believe he is going to be a yard shy.
Yeah.
And so decision time. What do you do here, Wayne? Do you give it back to Junction City with a 22-point lead? Or do you tell your big fellas up front, get us a yard, let's keep this drive going?
Big fellas, get us a yard and let's keep going. I figure that's what the Buckaroos are going to do. From our viewpoint up here at the EDC broadcast booth, he's definitely let's call it a long yard because it's 4th down and they always seem long on 4th down no matter how far it is.
That's right.
Especially if you're the offense. Defense, you're sitting here going, oh, they only need a yard. But the Buckaroos, no doubt they're going for it.
2 minutes gone here in the third quarter. 34-12 is our score. 4th and 1 for Smackover. Monica, he'll plow forward. He's got the first down and a little more still on his feet. Uses that left hand to lunge forward down across the 45. They'll mark him at the 43. So well executed there by Smackover to keep the drive alive.
Very good and a very good strong running by Monica. The Dragons definitely got to, when they get a hand on him, they got to wrap him up if you can get the hand on him because he is moving fast.
The young man definitely doesn't stay in one place too long. 9.5 to play. Again, Monica keeps, and he's knocked down. I think that was, he runs by a guy, gets a hand into him, and I think that kind of forced him to the ground as he was trying to juke another defender.
And I'll say one thing, Jacob, watching him run the ball, if the right guy can actually get a hand on it or whatever, it'd make for an easy. He's carrying that ball out like a loaf of bread a little bit. If you can get a hand in there, you can force a turnover. Well, of course, the key thing is if you can get a hand in there.
Under 9 minutes to play. Smackover football. 2nd down and 8 from the 42 of Junction City. Man in motion. And it'll be a direct snap to Biggers. He'll keep on the draw, and we've got a flag coming in from the short side of the field.
Now this is going to be interesting here on the flag because right now you're looking at a 3rd and might as well say 9.5 for the Buckaroos. And that is going to be against Smackover.
Be a hold on the Buckaroos.
Of course, you decline.
Junction will decline. And that'll bring up 3rd down, like you said, a long.
Long ways to go here.
Under 8.5 to play. 3rd down, we might as well just call it 10.
Yes, call it 10.
From the 43 of Junction City, Biggers in the shotgun, Crockett to his right. Double twins formation, 3-step drop, and he's hit as he throws, incomplete. Nicely done.
Yes.
Nice call there on the blitz. Linebacker come free. That's Chase Fennell, the junior. Applied the pressure on Biggers, nowhere to go with the football. Falls on the turf. Well executed there from Fennell.
I mean, you saw, and like I said, our viewpoint up here from the EDC broadcast booth, you could see him coming immediately. And like I said before, the Buckaroos realized he done got through the hole and was on the quarterback. Well, they went for it basically on their side of the field. They're going again.
Got to go here.
Yeah, you got to.
Got to go here. After the incompletion, clock stops. 8:19 to play, 3rd quarter. 34-12 is our score. Dragons by 22 points against Class 3A number 5 Smackover. Battle of Union County foes, no love lost here. 4th and 9, they'll throw the screen pass. Monica makes one defender miss. He'll finally be wrapped up and dropped by Jakyron Cook. He led the Dragons in the first half with 5.5 tackles.
And we have a Dragon down on the field.
And we've got an injured Dragon on the field. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. This is Junction City Football and Dragon Sports Network 101.5 The Hog. Just kidding. Welcome back live. 8:12 to play. First play for Junction City here in the second half. Brady Hutchison will keep. I tell you what, that's something we almost would like to see a little bit more of. Hutchison deciding to keep the ball. It works out well for the Dragons on that first play here in the second half. Picks up 8. Moves the ball up near midfield. They'll spot it at the 48.
Well, Jacob, the two, and I know we keep talking about it, but let's go back to it again. The two big pass play. Well, let's say three now. Actually, the first two did set up that third one. But when you got an aerial game that has to be respected, and you saw what the Smackover secondary did, it opens up the playbook for a lot of other things.
And they give to Cook straight ahead.
He should have the first.
Lunges for the first down.
Yep. It opens up your playbook to plays even like where you got, hey, okay, it's 1st and 10. Let's shut them down here and get the ball back. And then Hutchinson breaks for 8 yards on a keeper. And you hadn't seen that a lot. Now, he's done it a few times. Good night, Marie. Who's spotting down there? Yeah.
And they give to Cook. Again, another short run, but he only needed about half a yard, and that'll reset the chains for the Dragons as they move across midfield.
And the first down.
And that'll be another Ginger Tolano Allstate Insurance first down for Junction City. They definitely racked up their fair share of those in the second quarter. And it looks like they're back at it here in their first drive of the second half.
And Cook got 2 of the Ginger first downs here on his last drive, having to do it twice. Oh, we got him. Yep.
Tried to bring a blitz from the wide side of the field. And that's going to help Junction City out. 3 yards.
Now, Jacob, here you go here. Now it's 1st and 5. And, I mean, to me, this is a part. Of course, it's easy to do it up here from the EDC booth. This is time to go deep.
You got to take a shot here on 1st and 5.
Yeah.
Ball at the 45 of Smackover. Hutchinson can't corral the snap. Actually, he does corral it. It took him a minute. A little wide to his right. We got whistles before the play.
Right at the snap. Flag come
Flags.
flying in.
Guess is a false start potentially.
That's what I'm thinking.
And false start on Junction City, so they'll give back the 5 yards.
So the Dragons sit here. We'll take it back and start over.
1st and 10 for the Dragons.
So really no harm done other than instead of trying to get 5 for first down, you're back to your basic 10. And still, like I said, to me, it's a perfect opportunity. Look at real quick, look at the secondary.
No safety help.
No safety help whatsoever.
And they give to Jemiah Carroll. Ball's on the ground. It's going to be recovered by Smackover. Would have been a first down run. Hat pops it out from behind. And another fumble on the ground for the Dragons results in a turnover. And it's Smackover football, really good field position here. So, again, you call back, get your defense back on the field.
Well, and this is something, I hate to say it, but we're into the third quarter of the second game, and this is something we keep seeing, and that's the ball getting on the ground. We had how many at Harmony Grove? 6, 7? And I believe that's 2 or 3 here tonight. You just can't afford to keep doing that. You're going to run into the wrong team, and you're not out of the woods here. Yeah, you got a 22-point lead. But Smackover's very explosive. They got the athletes to make things happen and happen fast. And you don't want them to start, hey, we still got a chance, or you want them to start thinking they don't have one. And a great defensive play here by the Dragons as they roll in and just smother the ball carrier for a loss. It will be 2nd and, let's see where they put the ball down at, far side of the field. I'm going to say that's at least a 5-6 yard loss. It's going to be 2nd and 15, 5:50 remaining in the third quarter. Junction City on top 34-12. Dragons trying to shut down the Buckaroos here and get the ball back. 43rd meeting between these Union County rivals. Junction City holds the edge in the series 24-18, trying to get to number 25.
Biggers will work out of the shotgun.
They got trips to the
And
top.
going to be a false start on the far side of the field. And that's going to put them even further.
Well, it has turned into plenty of laundry. Plenty of laundry being tossed around here.
Both sides giving away free yards here in the first half of the third quarter.
So now
So now it'll be second and sumac for the Buckaroos.
Indeed. Now, they got pretty good biscuits up there, the old sumac. I'll give them a shout out there. We won't discuss nothing other than that. I'm on my best behavior this year.
Under 5:15 to play third quarter. Second and very long for the Buckaroos. 19 yards to go for the first down. Biggers takes the snap. Plenty of time to throw. Sits in the pocket. It's incomplete. Incomplete. Jamal Johnson knocking it away out of the air. It also looked like Jeremiah Wheeler or Jakyron Cook. Can't tell which one, but they might have actually got a hand on it as well.
You were talking about, Jacob, in the Harmony Grove game, you mentioned the seniors and making a name for yourself. This is your chance to step up, and play. And we got something going on. I'm sorry, folks, something in the south end zone. What is going on the far side?
Somebody's flashing a light bar on the top of their Jeep.
Or something, yeah. Anyway, the seniors, you're talking about make a name for yourself. Well, you got a sophomore out there for Junction City right now doing that, Mr. Johnson.
Third down and 19. Biggers takes the snap. He's going to throw, slings one up the right side. It's underthrown, incomplete.
I thought it was intercepted.
I think Cook jumped just a tad bit too early.
Yep, didn't quite time it.
Didn't quite time it. Right, but it's going to bring up fourth down for Smackover. 4:55 to play here in the third quarter.
Well done, defense. We talk about, hey, let's get the ball back. The defense needs to go out and do this, or the offense needs to do that. Defense took care of business there, killed any momentum on that drive for the Buckaroos. Now, Junction City, and it could come from the special teams. It's already happened twice. You're fixing to get the ball back with an opportunity to go up even more and maybe start putting this game away. It is fourth down and 19. 4:55 remaining third quarter. Junction City waiting the snap to get the ball back. Good snap. Nice. Well, it kind of got off the side of its foot. The ball's just rolling. Let it go, let it go. And it's going to roll dead at the 48-yard line. 4:46 remaining in the third quarter. Dragons up 34-12. You're watching Junction City football on the DSN. We'll be back in 30.
Junction City will take over.
Cook on the carry as we're back here at Paul H. Muse Field at David Carpenter Stadium. 4:35 remaining third quarter. Junction City on top, 34-12. Dragons taking over following a short Buckaroo punt. And now they are on the Smackover side of the field at the 40, let's call it 48-yard line. Hutchinson, the quarterback, surveys the field. Handoff. That is going to be Cook, and not much doing there. Buckaroos, once again, they're kind of bringing everybody back up tight on the line, looking for the Dragons, expecting Junction City to run the ball. And that, once again, Jacob, is going to open up the passing lanes for Junction City.
Sure, but even at this time, you're really not even needing to pass. When you're up 22, clock's starting to eat more clock away. And I tell you what, second consecutive drive, Hutchinson's got a Smackover defender with the hard count, and that's going to give Junction City a first down.
Outside against the Buckaroos.
Yep.
That'll be a first down for the Dragons.
That'll move the chains down with 3:42 remaining. Third quarter. Now we're ready to go. And Jacob, I can't help you keep looking here at the way they're playing. They're doubling up on the top on the receiver as the give here is to Johnson, and the best thing to do here is just go down. And the whistle's already blown. He is down. But on the bottom down here, it's single coverage. And with Junction City speedsters, that, you got to wonder if that opportunity ain't going to come again. And that Frazier checking in. Let's see what they do. And, yep, once again, it's just single coverage.
2nd down and 10 after the no gain from Johnson. 3 minutes to play, 3rd quarter. And they give to Johnson. He's got a lot of running room along that left side. Runs out of an arm tackle. Gets a block downfield from Gilbert. Still on his feet. Cuts back across the grain. He's inside the 20.
He's got it.
10, 5. He gets a block from Frazier. Touchdown, Jamal Johnson.
Mama, there's that man again.
There he goes. The sensational sophomore, 41 yards out. And it's 40-12 Junction City. What a run. Wow.
Oh, man. When he was on the far side, round about the 10, I believe, somewhere in that area, I thought, okay, they got him here. Just hold on the ball. And Jacob, just like that, a cut across the middle and in the end zone. Well, we just talked about it a while ago. Make a name for yourself. Show the coaches something. You know, we was talking about seniors, but this young sophomore has shown that, hey, he belongs on the field. As Hutchinson is going to bootleg it in.
And the lead is now 30 for Junction City with 2:49 to play, 3rd quarter action. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. It's all Dragons tonight in the border town. We'll be back in 30 on the Dragon Sports Network at 101.5 The Hog.
.249 remaining here in the border town. Junction City cruising now 42-12. The Dragons scoring off the sensational running of sophomore Jamal Johnson. And I mean, when I say sensational, he's worth the price of admission. He reminds me of Barry Sanders in that, whether it's a 2-yard gain, 2-yard loss, or what he just did there on a 41-yard scamper, he is fun to watch. And, Jacob Pumphrey, I don't remember you scampering much like that.
I didn't scamper too much in my career. Mine was more of a, I don't know if they have words in English language to describe how I would have
my
done
limited
it.
English, I can't come up with nothing. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
But
I did have a pretty stellar career as a kick returner, though, for the Dragons. I think that often gets lost when people look back on my career. So I just want to keep that alive. Another big boot from Williams, fielded by Hildreth at about the 11-yard line. He's got some blockers in front, gets across over to the Smackover sideline. Nice return there.
Yeah, good return.
About 29 yards from Hildreth, and that'll put Smackover maybe just shy of the 40-yard line.
Well, the head coach of the Dragons now actually killed your returning career, if you remember. Of course, you also caused him a few pains. He did tell me about it. I don't want you to return the ball, and off you went with it. After that, yeah.
Fair catch it, Jacob. Fair catch it.
That is your goal in life. I think he told you. Fair catch the ball, don't run with it. Well, right now, the Buckaroos really don't need to run with it as much as they need to start thinking about putting it in the air. And it's going to be interesting to see. It looks like they're going to stay with Biggers now. I don't remember anybody else really taking snaps the last couple plays for them.
I think he's probably their best option as far as throwing the football. And on top of that, it allows Goodwin to line up in a wide receiver set. And whistles before the play can develop.
I tell you what, these officials, if they keep running up like that and throwing flags and all, that will help the old weight loss there. Because it's hot out there. I'm hot up here just standing here, and they're down there running back and forth every little bit. Goodness gracious. Let's play ball. It can't be that bad. But despite this heat, we got a good crowd tonight. There is no doubt about it looking around. And not a lot of people have. There's a few spots started opening up, but for the most part, a lot of folks staying all the way through so far.
A lot of weight loss tonight here in the border town. 2:37 to play, 3rd quarter action. And they give up the middle. I believe the ball carrier that time was Preston Davis.
I would give you an 8 on that one. That's pretty good. I'll give you an 8.
Correction, Hayden Jonio. I hope I'm getting that last name correct.
Tackle made by number 41, Chase from
I believe you are correct on that.
Nearing the 2-minute mark here in the third quarter. 42-12 is our score. This one's starting to look a little bit like last year's contest, except this time it's in favor of Junction City.
And Jacob, I got to tell you now, I did not expect this to be 42-12, either side.
Either side, I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm a little stunned right now. Because I'll say that this play.
Biggers fakes to Crockett. He'll keep it on
Good
the ground.
run.
I give Coach Brown credit. He's staying with his bread and butter, keeping it on the ground. That carry will pick up a first down. It'll move the chains. Smackover across midfield, down to the Junction City. They'll spot it around the 48-yard line.
Dragons doing a little bit of substituting on the defensive line. Working one or two in at a time here, back and forth.
Smackover in no hurry.
Yeah, that's kind of what surprised
90
me.
seconds to play third quarter. Finally break the huddle. Twins to the left, single receiver to the right. Man in motion is Jackson Cook. And Biggers misplays the snap. He's going to be wrapped up and drop. Ball's loose, still on the turf. And he'll finally recover it, but that's back at the Buckaroo, around the Buckaroo 29-yard line. That's going to be a loss of, my math's correct, 22 yards.
And I miss Estelle Waller, fifth grade math. I agree with you. Heck, he's on the city limits of Bernice on that one. The ball just kept going and going.
That was Tate Barnett. He saw pigskin and took off after it. And when he grabbed Biggers, he forced him to actually almost fumble it again. I have to see what the statisticians rule that.
Yeah, the Rev down there, so hopefully he ain't got a chocolate chip cookie in his mouth. He makes sure he's got that documented. We'll find out real quick if he's watching broadcast or not.
and another bad snap. Biggers misplays it. He's going to pick it up, try to run with it, nowhere to go. And this is going to be probably one of the longest third down and to go that you're going to see in high school football coming up.
Yeah,
he blew through Bernice, Dubach, and the whole 9 yards. He's in Ruston
He's
now.
at the Ruston city limits on that. So, but actually, that last snap didn't look that bad.
It didn't. I don't think he was ready for it.
I don't think he was either.
And that'll do it for the third quarter of action. Timeout on the field. 42-12 is our score. Junction City on top by 30. It's all Dragons tonight here in the border town. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. We'll be back with fourth quarter action here on the Dragon Sports Network and 101.5 The Hog.
We are back at Paul H. Muse Field at David Carpenter Stadium. I was watching Russ Walker. I believe that was Russ Walker, wasn't it? On the far side there, toting the chain. And I thought he was heading to the field house for a second. My goodness. Third down and 46. This beats the Bears. Last night, the Bears had a 3rd and 40. So the Buckaroos have topped that. 3rd and 46. The ball's on the 14-yard line. We'll blame one definitely on a bad snap. The snap came early, and Biggers wasn't able to handle it, and that was the second one. It's put them back inside their own 15-yard line. Junction City in control, 42-12. Dragons trying to make it 25 on the Buckaroos. This is, like we mentioned several times tonight, the 43rd meeting between these two. Dragons up 24-18. And Jacob Pumphrey, we got a new quarterback.
Yeah, we do have a new quarterback, and he's going to air it. That's a good one. And there's going to be pass interference. At least there should be.
There should be.
And unfortunately, that was Goodwin back in the game. First time we'd see him over center in a couple of drives. Maybe he's the one that they rely on with the big arm as he slung it
He didn't hesitate. He put.
Here's the thing, though. The receiver could have caught it, ran 15 yards, and it still would have been 4th and 5. I'm serious.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you're right.
That's pass interference on the defense.
So the Smackover coaching staff, they'll go to the back of the playbook and look for a 3rd and 36 play to run. Tell the receiver kind of stretch it out a little bit on this one. And I got to tell you, I'm actually a little bit stunned here. I did not expect this game to go this way.
Like you said in the pregame, you know, your best improvements from week 1 to week 2. At least that's what you're going to, you know, judge yourself going forward. And if you're Junction City head coach Brad Smith, you got to like what you've seen so far. Obviously, there's been some sloppiness in some areas that you're going to clean up, but that's how you do it week to week, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, we kept saying it's a process. It's a process. This should be intercepted.
And it's picked off by Gilbert at about the 37-yard line. Slips down, tries to get his feet under him, and Dragons will have it at about the 35-yard line. So really good field position.
And like we said, Jake, going back to what you're talking about, Coach Carpenter's talked about it. Any coach worth his salt has talked about it. It's a process. We just keep working. This is the things we're going to work on. This is the things we're going to do. Here's the strengths, here's the weaknesses. Week by week, you try to get better. The Dragons, I mean, you look at the Harmony Grove game, and I'm going to quote you and Coach Meeks on this after we were off the air. Both of you said it. Y'all both said a month and a half from now we're going to look back at this and go, how did we lose that game? And tonight this team is showing the potential of what it can do. The passing game with Brady Hutchinson, it's there. They got the receivers to work with. We got a young man that's stepping up. Last 2 games has stepped up a lot in Johnson, and he's looking really good. The defense, and Smith said it in early going, it's going to be tough. And they're showing it tonight.
For the most part, Hutchinson fumbles the snap. He's going to be traced down from the backside. Hildreth knocks the football loose, and he's going to pick it up and stroll into the end zone. Backside pressure forced the ball out of Hutchinson's hand after he couldn't play the snap. And that puts 6 more points on the board for Smackover here with 11:08 to play in the 4th quarter.
You don't want to see that. Sometimes it's best just, of course, he got the ball back and was able to go with it, but he had pressure on him. And you're better off just, hey, I'm going to just try to run with it and see what I can get or go down 1. And I look for the Buckaroos. Let's see, 19. They should go for 2 here.
Yeah, the only extra point attempt they've tried tonight was blocked. And they're going to go for 2 here. And Goodwin's going to call a timeout. Not sure what he saw. He'll call a timeout, discuss some things. And we'll step aside for 30 seconds. We'll be back with the 2-point try here. 42-18 is our score. Junction City Football on the Dragon Sports Network, 101.5 The Hog. And after the timeout, 11:08 to play, 4th quarter. 2-point try coming for the Buckaroos. Not in the clear yet are the Dragons, especially with the athletes they have. Goodwin looks left. He'll throw right, incomplete, almost intercepted. He stays on his feet. He could probably return that for 2 points. I believe that's a high school thing, right?
I think it's one of those college rules you can do it, but I don't think they can.
Right.
I'm not sure. I don't think they can in high school, though.
Yeah.
But it's good to see. I tell you what, you look at the effort there and the good coverage. And Goodwin was trying to rifle that one in there. And I like the way the Dragons, handled their coverage. almost intercepting it. It's things like that you love to see out of your defense, solid play all the way through, even on 2-point conversion, stuff like that. Because sometimes a guy might want to just dial it in, and you can't have that, not if you want to be a successful team and make a successful run to playoffs. Junction City's showing tonight they can be that. And, Jacob, let's play the what-if game. They're not out of the woods yet, but they're up 24, about to get the ball back. I suspect we're going to see an onside kick here.
You got to.
Got to. And the Dragons are expecting it.
Oddly enough, you had to burn a timeout on the 2-point try, and you end up not coming away with points. So that kind of puts you in a hole.
Yep, that hurts you there. You want to. I know it sounds crazy. You want to hold those timeouts as long as you can, especially if you're going to make an attempt to get back in it. Let's see what the Buckaroos do here. I really expect the onside, and they're going to cross kick it.
And Cook, he won't fair catch. He'll elect to receive at the 35. Moves up the middle, makes another man miss. He gets close to midfield across the 45.
Great field position.
Great field position. Thought he was going to be able to keep running there, but got dragged down from behind, just shy of midfield. And so that's be good field position for Junction City.
And while I have the opportunity, Jake, let me say this real quick. 11:02 remaining in the game. Dragons up by 24. A big shout out to Generations Bank for their support of the Dragon Football Wall of Honor. It was an overwhelming success. We had a great crowd tonight. Second time we've done the reception, and very proud to see all the folks show up. The former inductees, I guess you'd say, coming.
1st and 10 for Junction City. Give goes to Johnson. He'll work right side. He's met at the line of scrimmage and dropped for no gain.
And looking at the Dragons now, I think they're going to try to start eating a little clock. But back to what I was saying, it was great to see Eddie Malone here. Mr. Tom Jerry made it tonight. Mr. Jerry, of course, played late in his freshman year from 61 to his senior year in 64. Was in the state All-Star game in the summer of 65. Eddie Malone, I can't help it. Every time I see him, I think of Cotton Valley, of the Cotton Valley game. And to this day, they still hadn't tackled Eddie.
And then Hutchinson fakes to Johnson.
Good run.
He'll keep fall forward. Very good run by. And getting a little chippy out there.
Yeah, we need to calm it down here.
I tell you what, when you're in the trenches and you've been banging on each other all night, hitting each other, it eventually comes to a head sometimes.
Well, your group, they never were chippy, were they?
Oh, no, we were straight shooters.
Why did Derek Wright's name come to my mind immediately? Oh, man.
Under 9:40 to play, fourth quarter. Johnson wrapped up and dropped for a loss in the backfield on 3rd down and 4. And that'll bring up a 4th down for Junction City. If you're the Dragons, you probably eat as much clock as you can and hopefully punt it away and pin Smackover, make them go the length of the field.
Let's see what they do try here. A few substitutes, but I don't.
Cook checking back into the ball game. He punted for Junction City last week.
I'm going to assume that's what we're going to do here, but Hutchinson is still in the game. Yeah, we're going to punt formation now. And like you said, the Dragons are going to eat up as much time as they can. 2 seconds, 1 second on the clock. Snap.
Good snap, too.
And a
line
good
drive
punt. Good coverage.
Take a Junction City bounce down there on it. Good job getting down there on it. DeAndre Malone. And Smackover will have it at the 7-yard line. Got to go 93 to punch another one in. 8:43 to play, fourth quarter action. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. Junction City Football on the Dragon Sports Network at 101.5 The Hog. Welcome back, Paul H. Muse Field, David Carpenter Stadium. Crockett on the carry. And ball's on the ground. There were no whistles. That should be Junction City football because those whistles those whistles came as the ball was already on the turf. And we've got currently 3 Dragons on the ground. All 3 have gotten up. Clock moves under 8.5 minutes. 24-point advantage for Junction City.
They're going to say I guess he's dead, but I'm like you. The whistles didn't blow until the ball come out, unless they saw the ball coming out. I don't know. It's going to be a pickup about 5. But this is what if you're the Dragon, this is what you want. Just keep it on the ground and run it. You're eating up clock.
Again, it's a 3-possession ball game. That's including all 3 2-point conversions Goodwin keeps. And it is getting a little chippy out there. Like I said, no love lost between these 2 programs.
Yeah, and now the official, and you don't want to see it get any further out of hand. But now you got teammates talking to each other, kind of like get back in the huddle.
Clock moves under 7.5. Again, Smackover in no hurry at all.
And I don't understand that. It's like
they've got playmakers to potentially,
It ain't like we don't have nothing to work with. They got plenty to work with.
And going to be close to a first down. It's hard to tell from this angle whether he got it or not.
They're saying he got. Well, wait a minute. 4th down on the markers. Let's see what they're going to do. I thought for a second he made it or was. Now they're saying, now they're moving it up a little bit. They're waiting on the official. Goodness gracious, he's right there on the marker. So, Jacob, you're down 24, 6.5 left. Go for it. And that's what I believe they're going to do.
I think you got to.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah, and they're going to go for it. All right.
I don't think since his acrobatic catch took a lot of concentration, they have yet to try to target Hildreth since that catch. Biggers will keep it. He'll pick up the first down, which will move the chains. It'll momentarily stop the clock with 6 minutes and 12 seconds to play. 42-18 is our score.
Yep. And you're right. They have not. I'm trying to remember if they even targeted Hildreth anymore. So you had the one big catch, and it's like they went away from him completely. I look for them to go back and fling a few deep to him to see what would happen. And you said he's just a freshman. I mean, goodness gracious, there's a lot of potential there in that young man.
He'll line up out wide on the right side.
No sense of urgency by the Buckaroos.
And Crockett tripped up before he can get going. I believe that was Fennell, who had chased with a couple of big plays tonight.
I mean, you're down 24. That's 3 touchdowns, 3 2-point conversions if the old math is right. I know that's asking a lot and the clock's running, but they've had the ball now on this drive for a good over 2 minutes. And they're basically, Jacob, doing Junction City a favor here.
Yeah, they are.
They're milking clock.
Eating clock. It's going to be a false start, and they're not going to do themselves any favors on that one. It'll back them up. Stops the clock with 5 minutes and 8 seconds to play in this one. 42-18 our score. If you're just joining us, to say you've missed a lot would be an understatement.
Indeed. You missed Junction City showing that they have a potent aerial attack. And definitely Hutchinson has shown that he's got weapons to work with. The emergence of Johnson continues. And he put on a show tonight on his 41-yard, I like what you called it, scamper.
And Biggers pressured by Kidwell, flushed out of the pocket. Fennell chasing him down. And Singleton will
almost intercepted.
Get to him as he's throwing, and almost picking it off was Tate Barnett, sliding down and around the 24-yard line. Pass was just short.
And then let me say this, the defense showing that, yes, we are the force to be reckoned with. Putting on a very good show tonight. Because Smackover, we said a while ago, they got a host of weapons to work with. I'm just, of course, I'm up here and the coach is down there, but when you got those kind of weapons, you know, you're doing more than just handing off and running counter plays up and cutting across the middle on, you know, short little dump passes.
Third down and 16. Ball on the 14. And they give to Crockett. He's been running hard all night. I'll give him credit.
Yes, definitely give that young man credit, because despite the score and everything else in the situation, he is running hard.
Crockett on the carry.
And let's see what the Buckaroos look like. They're going to punt it away, Jacob.
Clock moves under 4.5 minutes. So, yeah, I think it's safe to say they're calling it a night.
I believe so. I believe you will be safe in saying that, because they are going to punt it away. Junction City sets up for a potential return.
Dual returners. And I believe we've got a timeout on the field. Smackover wants to talk over this punt here with 4:03 to play in the fourth quarter. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. Be back with the final 4 minutes here. Paul H. Muse Field at David Carpenter Stadium.
42.
Four minutes, 3 seconds remaining in the ball game here at the Muse. Junction City 42, Smackover 18. Dragons trying to go 1-1 on the season, and the Buckaroos, like they will drop to 1-1. It's 4th and 12. Smackover to punt it away. And Jacob, some dangerous return men back here.
Yeah, they are. Frazier and Cook. It'll be interesting to see if they kick to Frazier, because you definitely want to kick to Cook. Just kidding. He gets a block from Frazier. He's at the 30. He'll finally be wrapped up. But a really good return from Jakyron Cook.
Tackle made by number 22, Dawson Biggers.
And Biggers brings him down. And so I'm thinking Junction City, this might be the final drive of the game for the Dragons, and I think a couple of handoffs will just about do it.
Yes, I was looking to see if we will see a Gabe Richard appearance. And don't see Mia Hutchinson is in the game. Still at quarterback. And I'll tell you what, Brady, he showed it last year, especially if the weather was horrible. That's when he wanted to throw the ball and looked great doing it. In these first 2 games this year, he has done an outstanding job with the ball. A couple of good passes that should have been caught against Harmony Grove, and tonight they were caught against the Buckaroos.
Handoff goes to Chase Wood up the middle. He's tripped up at the line of scrimmage. Sophomore's a hard runner.
Chase Wood on the carry.
An all-business runner.
Yes.
Preston Davis.
Reminds me of his dad. I believe on the 01-02 teams. Hard runner. And the Dragons are doing what we figured. They're going to eat about as much clock as they can, or reasonably.
Under 3.5 to play. Wood behind Hutchison in the pistol. Gives to Wood. He'll bounce it out right. Trying to get to that first down. Uses a stiff arm, and he will pick up the first down. Brought down by the collar of his shoulder pads. He appears to be hurt. There's no flag on that side of the field. My gracious.
That was intentional.
With the exception of basically pulling the pads off of his shoulders. I don't know if it could get any more blatant than that. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. Be back with more football on the Dragon Sports Network at 101.5 The Hog.
We are back. They're still helping now. They're going to help Chase off the field here, I believe. And Big Charlie got him. He is hobbling. And his teammates helping him. 3:08 remaining in the game. Junction City 42, Smackover 18. And waiting. The Dragons there should be a first down. They still got third down on the thing, but it should be a first down. They're going to move the chains, and we'll be set to go. Junction City will improve to 1-1. The Buckaroos will drop to 1-1. The Dragons will now lead the series 25-18. Hutchinson still remains quarterback. Single back. Snap, the give. Here's a push to the outside. Now cutting in is number 9 for Junction City. And Jacob, that is
A.J. Avery, sophomore running back. Hard run right there.
And that
picks up 2.
Be 2nd and 8. And right now all Junction City's doing is just running clock. Milking it down as much as they can. Well, Jacob, let's look ahead. Next week is a bye week. And then I guess we ought to say there will be storm warnings.
Border war.
The border war, ladies and gentlemen, right here in the border town. You know what we're talking about. The ex-Wildcat trying to do some sound effect. We can hear him here in our head.
National Weather Service.
National Weather Service issues. They will issue one September 20th. We'll get into that in a minute. Hutchinson on keeper.
Pushes the clock under 2 minutes.
Yep. Well, like my old pap said back in the day on Sunday when the chicken was set down in front of everybody, stick a fork in her, boys, she's done. Junction City, you saw improvement tonight where you needed to see it in a lot of areas. There's still things, like you said, Jay, got to be cleaned up, got to be worked on. But you got a bye week to get ready for that, and then the Golden Tornado from Haynesville roll in. And I got to tell you right now, I'm ready for that one. Because tonight I saw enough to tell me, hey, this team is making progress in the right direction.
They can rise to the occasion, that's for sure.
Yes, sir, they did. The pressure was on them, and they responded.
And they give to Jamal Johnson here on 3rd and 6. Johnson running hard. I tell you what, I think he could stop on a dime.
And lead change.
And it'd probably be at least 8 cents.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. That young man, I tell you what, and we've talked about him already, it doesn't matter if the Barry Sanders effect, 2-yard loss, 2-yard run. When Barry touched the ball, everybody's like, here he goes. And Johnson is the same way.
I know some people out there probably thinking, aren't they jumping the gun on the Johnson kid? I mean, they've only seen him for a game and almost 2 games here. I think it's safe to say we've seen enough Junction City backs that have known how to tote the football, so to speak, that I think it's safe to say he could very well be something special.
Indeed. And let me throw this in, Jake. Let's go back to the schedule. You said that you were bragging on this kid just 2 games in. We play quality opponents. You know, when you look at who we played, Harmony Grove, they ranked number 1 in 3A. And I'll be honest with you, I think they're probably a top 5 in 3A, but not number 1. And I'm not being mean toward the Hornets and nothing, just say it. And then you got Smackover, who is number 5 right now in 3A. The Buckaroos are no slouches by no means.
No, they're not.
You know, we're kind of a little stunned at the way that from mid-third quarter on they've run the offense. You figure they would try to do a little more than what they're doing. But 2 quality opponents, and this young man has shown what he can do. Now, as we wait here, they're doing a measurement, I believe. Let's see, what did they say? Did he get the first down, or is he going to be a little short, I believe? Not that it really matters with 53 seconds left.
53 seconds remaining.
But with Haynesville coming to town, you're looking at a chance now to go 2-1. After that, you got the conference play starts with Strong here in the border town. Dare we say it? Maybe setting up for another good run into the postseason.
Very well could. No reason why not. As Johnson, when he moves, all of his, he's always moving forward.
Yeah,
he could be wrapped up 2 or 3 guys, but he finds a way to move forward. Only listed at 5'8", 158.
5'8", 158. Dynamite.
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 Does come in small packages.
Indeed it does, and it explode on you quick.
One more snap remaining in this one. That's all the Dragons will need.
Oh, yeah, my favorite formation. That's it, Big Gary. Big Gary smiling too.
And Hutchinson takes the knee, and that will do it. He'll hand the football to the sideline official, and that's a final from the border town. 42-18 is our score. Junction City over Smackover. The defending Class 2A number 1 Dragons defeat the Class 3A number 5 Buckaroos. And we'll step away for 60 seconds. When we come back, we'll have the player of the game here from Paul H. Muse Field at David Carpenter Stadium.
We are back at the Muse. The final score, Junction City 42, Smackover 18. Junction City Dragons improved to 1-1 on the year, and the Buckaroos will fall to 1-1. They opened the season with a win over Hampton, and then, of course, tonight losing to Junction City. The Dragons lost to Harmony Grove, and that's probably going to be a game about like Big Gary and Jacob said earlier. We're going to look back and go, how did we lose that one?
Yeah.
But Big Gary, a team improves its most from the first game to the second day. That's the old coach's saying. And I think tonight you and I both agree with that.
Yes. That's two different teams.
Yep.
A different team that played last week and a totally different team played tonight. I hit on them three keys earlier, in the game.
Let's talk about them now.
Offensive line, finishing drives, and getting off the field on third downs. Well, when you open up with a opening kickoff, that was the tone set of this ball game to me. The opening kickoff, Hernandez Freitas take it all the way. And the offensive line, give them credit tonight. You don't score 42 points without the offensive line blocking well tonight. Give the offensive line credit, running backs. We had a couple fumbles, but, hey, they ran the ball hard tonight. Give Brady Hutchinson. He had all the time in the world to throw the ball when we did pass. And he made some good passes tonight. That defense, man, that front four on that defense.
I was going to say, talk about that defense.
Man, they had their long runs, but when we needed them the most, they front 4 or 5, they came with it. Secondary, another outstanding job. Had a couple of passes. I don't think that one pass down here on about the 10 when he tipped it, we just overplayed the interception right there. Hey, I can live with that. But, man, defense played lights out tonight, and they got Smacko off the field on third down, or they had him in third and long where we knew what they was going to do or pass. So secondary did a heck of a job tonight.
I want to go back to one thing, Big Gary, we had talked about a good bit, and that was, we're running the ball, we're trying to do little short passes, stuff, trying to keep things close to the line of scrimmage kind of offense, I guess you would say. But when Hutchinson hit the 2 long passes, it set up the deep pass. Yes. Well, excuse me, I'm wrong, not deep pass, but an outlet pass to Frazier that resulted in a touchdown. And, you look at that, and that was there's 21 points, or I
21,
should
yes,
say
sir.
22 points. I think we got two two-point conversions, missed it on another one. But we got it off the fact that Smackover had to change their defense on that third one.
Yes.
And, right before the snap, we said that, look at the defense they're playing now. They're their secondary's backing off a little bit.
Yes, yes.
And it opened up things for us. When that passing game is clicking like that, and it was very close to clicking against Harmony Grove. If you go back to that game, there was 2 missed opportunities, and if one of them's just completed, who knows how that game turns out. Of course, it's all water under the bridge now.
Yeah.
Let's look ahead a little bit. Next week's a bye week, and then the game. As Jacob has tagged it, and I love what he said, the border war. Haynesville's coming to town. Man, I tell you what, I'm ready right now. I put some pads on. I'm ready to hit somebody. I'll probably get myself hurt. But you look at that game, and you're going, hey, here's another big opportunity to see what we can do. We hold up good against Haynesville. That tells you right there what this team's going to be capable of doing.
Yes.
So, you Coach Smith, what do you do this bye week?
You get better. You get better. You use that week. Get all your bumps and bruises healed up. Condition a little more, since you ain't got a game. You condition a little more. And I'm pretty sure he gonna start breaking down film on Haynesville night, and he's gonna have the man is dangerous. You give him 2 weeks of game plan for you.
That's what I was just going to say. You're going to give Brad Smith 2 weeks to sit and study film. You can get ready. One more time, the schedule we played starting off, I love the fact that we played 3 quality opponents, or we're about to play a third one. That's it's really going to open things up. And I think also the fact that it's going to give us a chance, especially in this bye week, for one of these younger guys to step on up, like Johnson. The emergence of Johnson is really going to help this team. He showed it tonight again with some outstanding runs. Also, a couple good plays on defense. And number 40, help me out, Cam.
Cam Torrance.
Torrance, man, he is looking good. Let me jump in here real quick. Let's just change courses and go to our Union Kennel and Farm Supply scoreboard for a final. And get ready for this one, folks. Jacob saw this team play in Magnolia and said they are the number 1 team in 3A. Big Gary, you said the same thing. Fordyce, 14, Rising 8. That is a final.
I tell you what, Nick, when we play Haynesville, you're going to see that same kind of offense with the Red Bullets and Fordyce. So that's going to be a big up, for us playing Haynesville. It'll prepare you for teams like Fordyce later on in the season. So,
yep. All right, a couple more scores to pass along. Just Hampton and Parks Chapel, you said both winners tonight here as we go back to the Union Kennel Farm Supply scoreboard. So the conference looking good. Big statement for the 8 tonight.
Yes.
Fordyce winning, Hampton winning, and Parks Chapel winning. Parks Chapel undefeated, Gary.
Yeah.
I don't give a flip who they played. They're undefeated. That's impressive. And here's an interesting score. Is the final, am I correct? Okay, we don't know if it's a final or not, but we'll give the score. El Dorado 16, Camden 13. I didn't expect it to be that close.
Me either.
But that's an interesting game right now going on, or it may be a final, not sure. And that was at Camden, I believe.
That Smackover team right there, they 2 or 3 kids away from being a pretty good team in 3A.
Yeah.
They got some kids that can run. Number 4, 3, and we heard his name called on like the biggest kid. They are 1 player away from being making a good run in that 3A.
I think so. That's what we were talking about. Of course, you were up here. You heard us kept talking about, they're kind of playing it safe, playing it conservative here. And it's like we don't want to, we just want to go ahead and finish up and go to the house.
Yes.
And you're going, man, these guys have got weapons. They, why are they not using them? Let me throw this question at you, Big Gary. 4 quarterbacks tonight for the Buckaroos. How do you feel about that? Running 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Now they eventually settled on 2.
2, yeah.
But for the most part of the early part of this game, into the second half, they were running 4 different quarterbacks.
Yes. And it was a tale of 2 teams when they did it. When Biggers was in that number 22, it was more of a run. run. He was gonna keep it or hand it off. Well, when I think it was number 10 or number 3, whenever he's in there, it's more of a read option, or he's more of a passing threat than a running quarterback was. So 2 different teams when the quarterbacks had in there. So
Yeah, it's as like Jacob said, you're looking at a running quarterbacks like that. You're looking at different tempos.
yes,
And to me, I'm not going to say it causes confusion, but it makes you a little concerned about, how the continuity of your offense, so to speak. Well, we're fixing to take Holly tonight here in the border town. Junction City a winner, 42-18. But before we leave, folks, let's do a player of the game. And Big Gary, we said number 8. Call his name.
Yeah.
He is the Jason. I believe it's Jason Hardy. Am I right? Player of the game.
yes, that's
Harlandis Frazier.
Harlandis Frazier.
And a big game for him. Junction City got off to a good start thanks to him. He had a return for a touchdown. They ended up, 3 touchdowns tonight, Jacob? I believe
3.
it was?
Yeah,
3.
3.
So 3 touchdown performance by Harlandis Frazier. He got the tone set early with his return, and the Dragons roll on to a 42-18 win. They now lead the series 25-18 over the Buckaroos. But before we go, real quick, folks, let's throw them names out there to you one more time. These are the fine sponsors of the Dragon Sports Network that help us do what we do. El Dorado Chemical, the title DSN sponsor, and, of course, we're doing all our action from up here in the EDC broadcast booth. Union Kennel and Farm Supply, they are our official DSN YouTube sponsor. ERC, the official sponsor of the Brad Smith Coaches Show. We will have one next week with Coach Smith. Generations Bank, they are the official sponsor of Dragon Football Wall of Honor. A big shout out to everyone at Generations Bank. Thank you. We had an outstanding reception tonight. Very proud of their involvement with it, and Junction City School involvement with agreeing to do this. Southern T-shirt, come the official DSN apparel sponsor. JCHS Band Boosters, they kept us fed. Or fed, I should say, feed. I got my English again. They keep us fed every game. James Anderson Foundation, they are the official sponsor of Dragon Basketball this year on the DSN and also involved with the football. Kevin Norris Memorial, and once again, I'd like to send a big shout out to Miss Jan. Thank you for all that you do for us. LG Farm and Timber, Langs's, Terminex, Kim's Hair Salon, Hog Wild Pest Control, Red Roof Barbecue, Gonzalez Mexican Restaurant. I want to thank all of these fine folks for being involved. In fact, I believe Gonzalez is supposed to stay open late after home games. So if you folks are hungry for some good Mexican food, go a little bit south of the border here and get you some here in the border town. For the coach, Gary Meeks, the play-by-play man, Mr. Jacob Pumphrey, the ex-Wildcat, up here, Mr. Denton Ashcroft, Brian Lee, and our stat crew down below. I'm Wayne Pumphrey. Have a blessed and wonderful weekend. We'll see you 2 weeks from tonight back here in the border town for the border war. The Junction City Dragons going up against the Haynesville Golden Tornado. Good night all, and have a safe weekend.
Tornadoes.